final time, they come through corner number 4. Dale Earnhardt enters the straightaway and looks for the checkered flag this time, and he sees it. Dale Earnhardt has won the second Brickyard 400. The 7-time NASCAR Winston Cup champion put another big victory in his resume, capturing the richest and largest attended race at the famed Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Thank you, Tony. Y'all got a great family and a great racetrack tradition up here. I'm glad I'm the second man that won it, if not the first. We really appreciate it. And NASCAR, I guarantee you NASCAR is happy to be here.
Now, what about the Daytona 500? You haven't won that one.
It's the Daytona 500. I ain't supposed to win the damn thing, Rick.
But he did end his road course jinx earlier this year with a victory at Sears Point.
Here we go, here we go. He's got him on the inside of turn 6.
Never could have thought he'd make the pass there, but he didn't.
Despite leading all drivers with the best average finish on a road course, it took Dale 36 starts to find his first road course victory lane.
I tell you, Richard said he's going to Africa on a little excursion. He did. He said, y'all probably win the race while I'm gone. If that takes it, I'll go to Africa every year. So he's going to Africa next year, whether he knows it or not, for the Daytona 500.
Well, the boat is back from Africa, and it landed at beautiful Lake Seneca in New York. The Finger Lake region offers some breathtaking scenery. Glen Gorge has 19 waterfalls with charming grottos and mysterious caverns. Tacanic Falls plunges 215 feet. The Watkins Glen Road Course is also here, and drivers like Terry Labonte look forward to coming here. For Ricky Rudd, it's more fun than work.
Road course racing is like a day off. It's like being 16 years old, parents hand you the keys to a Ferrari Testarossa and say, have at it.
Rusty Wallace has fallen from his throne and lost his title as king of the road courses. He has 5 wins, but none since 1990 at Sears Point. Watkins Glen brings a beauty, a peace, and a serenity to the area. But the racetrack can be a battleground with unanticipated wrecks, unexpected crashes, and unbelievable drama. But the man who has solved his challenge is Mark Martin. He's won the last 2 races here and will start from the pole again today in the 10th annual Bud at the Glen. And what a beautiful day it is in Watkins Glen. We've had weather problems here in the past, but not today. It is a beautiful, nice, sunshiny day. It's race number 20, the Bud at the Glen in the 31 Winston Cup Race Series. And as we take a look at the quest for the Cup standings, you can see that Jeff Gordon is on top. Sterling Marlin only 82 behind, and even Ted Musgrave, who is in 5th position in the point standings, is not out of the championship by any means. He's only 218 behind. Hi everyone, I'm Bob Jenkins. Welcome to this historic racing facility. The track first built in 1956. Its current configuration in 1971. It's hosted just about every kind of motorsport event that you can imagine. It's a sprawling 2.5-mile road course with 11 turns. The stock cars actually use only 7 of those, and you would think that passing would not be a problem, but it is. And Dr. Jerry Punch's track position is going to be very important this afternoon.
Indeed it is, Bob. You know, with just 218 points separating the top 5 in Winston Cup points and only 11 events remaining after the day, you got to imagine our 95 champion is going to come from within that group. And every race is going to be critical there. You know, every race among the top 5. That means that starting position and track position, very important here on the road course. Take a look. 2 of our top 5 points standings drivers are starting outside the top 20. Sterling Marlin and Ted Musgrave will have to be very, very careful and rely on patience today. Now, how about Dale Earnhardt? Last week's winner, he starts in 15th spot, mate. Don't worry. Remember, a week ago, he started 13th and came on to win the Brickyard 400. Now, how about the young, phenomenal driver, Jeff Gordon? He has run 5 road course events, has never led a lap, but he is back in the same car that he finished 3rd in at Sonoma. He will start in 5th spot today. Watch for him to be a factor. But the undisputed king of the road here at Watkins currently sits in 4th place in the point standings. That is Mark Martin's Valvoline Ford, and he certainly will be a factor. Guys, if anyone's going to make a move in the points today, watch for Martin to be the man. Bob?
All right, Jerry, the engines have fired, and Benny Parsons is not with us today. A little bit under the weather back in North Carolina. We wish him the best and are pretty sure he'll be back with us next week at Michigan. Well, Ned is with me. And, Ned, what is the key to passing here at Watkins Glen?
It's very difficult, Bob. There's no question about it, even though there are a lot of turns here. But for a guy like Dale Earnhardt, he finds a way, or either sometimes they'll just let him pass, knowing he's going to do it one way or the other. But I'll tell you, this is a different kind of racing. On the oval tracks, you wish for a caution about when it's time for a pit stop. Well, here, that's not the case. You would like to make your pit stop and then hope the caution comes out immediately thereafter. Everybody else would have to come in under caution. You'd be in front of them on the restart. So pit stops timing is very, very important.
Well, one of the nice passing areas here at Watkins Glen is in turn number 1. And with us to call the action down there is Bill Weber.
Thanks, Bob. I have the best seat in the house, and I have it all to myself. Me and about 1,000 or so of my close friends and family. 150 miles an hour in the draft down the front stretch into a tight right-hand turn. The key to braking in turn 1, the key to passing, rather, is braking. Now, if you catch up but can't get by here, you'll want to pass in the short chute because the race really begins in turn 2. It must be a single-file chase up through the S's, then the charge is on to the inner loop. Waiting there, a man who's logged many laps around this course, some of them even on the track, veteran road racing champion Dorsey Schrader.
Thank you, Bill. As the cars approach the inner loop, they reach a top speed here at Watkins Glen of about 168 miles per hour. Now, they have to slow those cars down to, say, 55 miles an hour in second gear to get through the inner loop. This is a good passing zone. 2, maybe 3 guys can get side by side on the entry here, but once turned into the corner, it's single file time. Exiting the inner loop, the outer loop, or the old downhill turn 5, but with some new asphalt. And with a report on that is our own John Kernan.
Thank you, Dorsey. You know, the folks here at Watkins Glen have done an excellent job in repaving some portions of this racetrack up to where Dorsey is, down through 10 and 11, and all the way down into turn 1, some new pavement. And the drivers absolutely love it. And right here where I'm standing in turn number 10, they've even got a little banking that they've added here, a little bit of curbing, if you will, and that has changed the line for the drivers. That means they can turn in a little bit earlier coming in to turn 10. They can come through and use this curbing, get the tires up on it to break their slide. That sets them up for a straight shot down to turn 11, around and on to the start-finish line. What does this result in? Well, faster qualifying speeds for one thing, Bob. 13 of the drivers on Friday broke the old track record.
Indeed, it was a fast field on Friday, and now the 40 cars that make up today's lineup begin to roll away for a couple of warm-up laps. And look at this, even the wildlife and the area is running toward the fences so they can see the start of the Bud at the Glen. ESPN Speed World coverage of the Bud at the Glen is being brought to you by Quaker State, the intelligent oil for longer engine life. By Chevrolet, one car company has won more races in the history of NASCAR, genuine Chevrolet. By Beechwood Aged Budweiser, the king of beers, this Bud's for you. And by the NASCAR Story, to order call 871-NASCAR. Well, a great crowd on hand here. A little bit earlier, we had a flyover. The planes are still up in the air, circling over this beautiful road course here in the Finger Lakes region of New York State. Let's take a look at the starting lineup for today's event. Mark Martin will be on the pole. He broke his own track record in qualifying and goes for his 3rd straight victory here at the Glen. He has won his 3rd straight pole. Bill Elliott, who finished 4th last week at Indianapolis, starts alongside. Terry Labonte is inside of row number 2. He has 2 wins so far in 1995, and Rusty Wallace 2nd last week at Indianapolis. In row number 3, it's Jeff Gordon, the current points leader, and Michael Waltrip, who is 8th in points. Starting 7th is Ricky Rudd, the 88 and 90 winner here at the Glen, and Kyle Petty, who won at Dover earlier this year. Jeremy Mayfield starts in the 9th position, his 2nd straight top 10 start. Alongside will be Morgan Shepherd. In the 11th starting position, Bobby Labonte, 2 wins so far in 95, and Wally Dallenbach driving the 22 car. Starting 13th will be Dale Jarrett on a roll, and Ricky Craven, who's the top rookie in the series. Dale Earnhardt, the 7-time champion, starts in 15th position, making his 500th NASCAR Winston Cup start. And Ken Schrader, although we anticipate Schrader going to the back because he crashed in the final practice session yesterday. John Andretti will be inside of row number 9. Alongside will be Jimmy Spencer. In the 10th row, Joe Nemechek and Hut Strickland. Starting in row number 11, Butch Leitzinger, the road racing veteran, along with Robert Presley. Lake Speed will go in 23rd position, lined up beside Bobby Hillen. In 25th starting position is Jeff Burton. Alongside will be Ted Musgrave, 5th in the points. Darrell Waltrip has the 27th starting position, and Brett Bodine, the local favorite. Dave Marcus starts on the inside of row number 15, and then Jeff Bodine. Sterling Marlin has the outside of row number 16. To the inside will be Derek Cope. Rick Mass starts 33rd, and Elton Sawyer has the 34th starting position. In the 35th starting grid will be Todd Bodine, along with Ron Fellows, the Trans Am champion. Bobby Hamilton starts in 37th position. He had to take a provisional, as did Steve Grissom. And the final row also took provisional starts. Dick Trickle on the inside, and Ward Burton starts in 40th position. The 26 car of Hud Strickland is just now leaving the pit area, Ned.
Yeah, they had the hood up, Bob, doing something under there, so we don't know what the problem might be, but it looks like the car is running okay now, so he'll try to catch up to the field.
Well, let's take a look at the road course that they will be competing on here today. It's 2.45 miles in length. The front stretch is 2,150 feet and the back stretch 2,600. The corners are banked anywhere from 6 to 10 degrees. And as we said, there are 11 corners on the race course, but actually they only use 7 of them. Now they're going through what's called the inner loop there on the back stretch. Now that's the top right of your screen.
And that really could make up 4 of the turns, because you make a sharp right hand, then a left, and then back to the left again, and then back to the right to get back on the regular course. There it is. You see the cars coming through now as they get set for the green flag.
That's the big sweeping corner where Dorsey Schrader is stationed. Today's field, 21 Fords, 5 Pontiacs, and 14 Chevrolets. There were 4 provisional starters. Benny Parsons, are you on the phone with us?
Sure am, Bob.
Hey, it's good to hear from you. How you feeling?
Well, I feel pretty doggone good. I wish I could be there beside. I'd be keeping you straight today.
Well, we've given that job to Ned, so he has the difficult job today. What do you think of this grid that's lined up here?
I tell you what, do they look beautiful or what? What a gorgeous day you have there.
It is one of the rare days that you will have in this area of the country. We, of course, have been plagued by rain for the last couple of days, but today would not be better in terms of the weather. Let's hope it's a nice, safe race. Well, we're going to put you to work here, BP, and you can take them through corner number 10 here that they're about to enter, and all the way down the straightaway until Bill Weber picks it up. So call the start for us.
Okay, I'll do it. It looks good to have Bill Elliott on the outside of the front row. Looks like the Mickey D's car is back again, and I know a lot of Ford fans, a lot of Bill Elliott fans are glad to see that. But can he beat Mark Martin at this racetrack? No one has had a lot of success doing that the last couple of years. Here they come down. Doyle Ford has that green flag waiting on them. They're eyeing Doyle. He's taking a look at them. And they're off and running towards Bill Weber down in turn 1. And who's going to get the jump in turn 1?
They're going to fan out. Mark Martin on the inside, Bill Elliott on the outside. It's Martin first, followed by Elliott with Labonte, Wallace, and Michael Waltrip trying to make a move on the outside as they head up to turn 2. This is where they'll have to get single file through the S's. Martin leading the way as they head up through the S's, and they'll charge toward Dorsey Schrader in the inner loop.
But this is where we anticipate another flare as they will try to pass under braking going into the inner loop. First time, Mark Martin pulling a little bit of lead over Bill Elliott right there. They're side by side. And here we go. You can see about 3 rows back, a bunch of position shuffling going on there. So far, everyone clean through the inner loop. And that's the outer loop as Mark Martin goes down the hill and heads now toward the only left-hander in this course.
Looking back on Bill Elliott running second. That's the new pavement that John Curtin talked about earlier. Here's Jeff Gordon making a move on Michael Waltrip as they go into turn number 10, and he goes into 5th position.
Made that pass pretty easily, Bob. He had a good run coming into turn 10 there. And just
Mark Martin leading lap number 1. He leads all drivers in laps led here at the Glen. 138 going into today. He's now led 139. Got has some side-by-side racing going. Oh, and Joe Nemechek almost loses it in the Burger King Monte Carlo, but saved it. Whoa.
He did a great job of straightening that car out, Bob. If somebody would just have tapped him, he would have been gone, but he did a good job.
As, of course, Ted Musgrave running behind him.
Here's Ricky Rudd making a move in the tied Ford on the inside of Kyle Petty, taking away the 7th position. Jeremy Mayfield looking out the windshield of his car on Kyle Petty.
Jeremy's had a couple of good races, hasn't he? In fact, really the second half of the season, he's really come on strong.
Still holding on to that 9th position he started in.
We'll watch Jeff Gordon, as a moment ago he was set to pounce on Rusty Wallace, but has now fallen back behind him. Let's see if it's as they come down the straightaway again and into turn number 1. It's still Mark Martin leading Elliott, Labonte, and then Wallace.
All single file, Bob, as they pass through here again. Gordon looking perhaps to the inside of Rusty, but backs off that time. Now a car out of line. It's Earnhardt making the move on Dale Jarrett. He takes over that position, then chases Ricky Craven.
That was Earnhardt up to the 14th position. He was in 15th.
There's a suspension on Dale Earnhardt's car. We saw the roof cam a moment ago. Now this is the suspension. This track is pretty smooth, looks like, man.
Well, it's pretty smooth, but every once in a while they'll get off a wheel on a curbing or something, and you can see how hot those brake rotors get when he goes in. He was going into the inner loop. You use a lot of brakes on this racetrack, and that's one place on the track that you really get on the binders. You can see they cool off a little bit now as he accelerates out of turn 5 and heads over towards turn 10.
Boy, the whole right side of your screen lit up there when they applied the brakes and lit up those rotors. Now, once again, headed to turn 10 and again, hard on the brakes.
But that's another spot on the racetrack where you get on those brakes pretty hard. You can see the results. It really lights them up.
Yeah, that's a great shot showing that rotor. That's going up to about 2,000 degrees. Not really. I think it goes up about 1,200 degrees, though. And then the cooling hoses on the front cooling down. You see Ricky Rudd making the move. That's Kyle Petty just hit the curb.
Pretty close call for Kyle there. He got up on the rumble strips, but lost a little bit of track position. There is Rudd in the number 10 Tide car. He's running in 6th spot.
One of the smoothest road racers in the business. He started in 7th.
Rudd has 5 road course victories, 2 at Riverside, 2 at Watkins Glen, and 1 at Sears Point.
There we saw Wally Dallenbach take Kyle Petty going into the inner loop.
Here's a guy that would like to come off with a very good performance here at Watkins Glen. He doesn't have anything specifically lined up. We're talking about Wally Dallenbach for 1996. He says he has a few possibilities, but a good showing here could very well get him a good solid effort for 1996. Riding with Jeremy Mayfield in 10th position as Mark Martin leads after 3 laps at the Bud at the Glen from Watkins Glen, New York. From Watkins Glen, New York, live coverage of the Bud at the Glen NASCAR Winston Cup race. You're looking back on the rest of the field from leader Mark Martin. The most recent guy back there is Bill Elliott, who is running in 2nd. And here's your first Napa Field summary of the afternoon. Mark Martin led 75 of the 90 laps en route to victory last year. And early on, he is the leader here from the pole position once again.
We saw that Wally Dallenbach has moved up to 8th position from his 12th starting position. So his road racing experience paying off for him here as we continue down through the field. Everyone's still in the lead lap.
John Kernan, there were some cars that made pit stops either before or right after the race began. What's the situation on that?
Bob, right before the green flag came out, Hut Strickland had to jump onto pit road. They went underneath the hood, changed coils, changed the ignition boxes. They had a miss in the car. We think that took care of the problem. At least Hut hasn't said anything since he's been back out on the racetrack. Now, we've also received a report sneaking in on the scanner frequencies of Kyle Petty, and he has relayed to his crew chief that he may be running out of brakes. We don't know if he's completely out of them at this point or if he's just got a really soft pedal, but we will be checking that out. Also, Jeff Burton had radioed in and said the 11 car, Brett Bodine, might be laying some oil down on the track. We are up here, and we'll talk to Junior Johnson in a minute and see if we can confirm that. But so far, that's about all that we've got here on pit road.
The 87 car is smoking, Ned.
Yes, it is, Bob, especially when he goes into the turns. We're watching again Joe Nemechek in the Burger King Chevrolet. Can't tell if it's something in the chassis, maybe something rubbing or a tire smoke, or maybe if there's some grease or an oil leak somewhere. Rusty Wallace took a look at Terry Labate there, that there was nothing there for him to make a pass.
And Ned Dale Earnhardt has picked up another couple of spots. He's gotten around Ricky Craven and around Jeremy Mayfield and continues his charge up toward the front from that 15th starting position. Nemechek goes by here now, smoking heavily as he heads into turn 2, while Earnhardt goes up through the S's.
That would move Dale then up to 11th position as we look back for Nemechek in the 87. Benny, any ideas there what this smoke could be? Remember, he lost control there in turn 1 a couple of laps ago, but I don't know whether that had anything to do with it or not.
Bob, it looks to me like he might have just a valve cover gas leaking or something like that. Doesn't look like a real serious problem.
I don't think it's affecting his speed at all. It's just that smoke. And NASCAR will look at it and keep an eye on it. And as long as Robert Presley doesn't complain that something's coming up on his windshield, well, he'll probably be able to stay out there.
Well, leave it. Yeah, down here, actually coming out of the outer loop, the right-hander at the bottom, it's smoked quite heavily. So whatever it is dumping out when he makes right-hand corners there.
So as Benny said, it could be an oil, a valve cover maybe leaking in on that side, and when he goes around that turn, it just leaks over onto a little bit of oil, maybe leaks over onto the exhaust headers, and that would cause the smoke.
Now Robert Presley may be making a move on Nemechek, Bill, as they head toward you.
And he looks to make that move. Meanwhile, Earnhardt got around Kyle Petty and continues his climb. Here comes Presley, towed by Lake Speed, or towing Lake Speed, actually, and they get around Nemechek, and there's a good shot of that car as it smokes heading into turn 2.
Yeah, I think that's something that may be bringing him into the pits before long. He is losing positions.
Yeah, the worst thing in the world right now, this early in the race, is to get a windshield full of oil and not be able to see, and, you know, nowhere near a pit stop yet.
Well, there is Sterling Marlin, who had a very poor qualifying effort and has moved up to 30th position from his 32nd starting position, so he's only gained 2. John, what's the story on the 87?
Bob, I just talked to Joe Nemechek's crew chief, Mike Borschinger. He told me at first they were hoping, had their fingers crossed, that it might have just been brake smoke. But Joe has now radioed in on the last lap and says he's starting to smell a little bit of burning oil. So maybe Benny's observation is absolutely right. They're not sure if it's from the oil tank or maybe have a loose valve cover. But they would love to get a caution so he could get down here on pit road and check that out and hopefully get it fixed. Now, I mentioned the 11 car. I just talked to Junior Johnson before coming down to Nemechek's pit, and Junior says what he thinks is happening when Brett gets on the brakes, the fender rubs against the tire, and that's causing a little bit of the smoke that Jeff Burton had reported to his crew.
All right, we'll be watching for that situation. There is Morgan Shepherd in the 21 car running in 14th spot. We do have a new second place occupant. That would be Jeff Gordon, and he made the move, looked like in turn 10, Ned.
Yeah, he just moved. He drafted on Bill Elliott, and then all of a sudden he moved out to the inside. Bill didn't fight him going into that turn, which was very smart, and Gordon takes over the position.
So it's now Mark Martin, Jeff Gordon in second, and Elliott in third.
Well, we saw Dale Jarrett and Morgan Shepherd there a moment ago racing, and apparently they got together a little bit. There's Shepherd off in the grass. We'll take a look at it.
And that happened right up here in the braking zone. You'll see it on the replay here that two of them get in. And I think a little help from behind here, you'll see.
Okay, we see Jarrett on the inside. Shepherd comes down there, and they touch, and Morgan goes around out into the grass and the sit-go forward.
Don't think that car is hurt, really. It's just stuck out there in the grass.
Has he been able to get it fired yet, Dorsey?
Yeah, I believe he has returned.
There's no caution, so he was out of harm's way. Yeah, there he is.
There he is.
Also looks like there might be some tire smoke coming from the left side of the Haviland Ford going through turn 1, and Joe Nemechek continues to smoke as he makes that turn through here and heads up to turn 2.
Yeah, I thought maybe there was some contact between Shepherd and Jarrett that may be causing some problems for Dale as the afternoon goes along. This is from Jeremy Mayfield's perspective, the incident right ahead of him.
Yep, there was definite contact as they went in there, and around Shepherd went.
Back up front.
Situation, two cars trying to get in the same place at the same time, Bob.
Exactly. It's Martin, Gordon, then Elliott, Labonte, and Rusty Wallace, the top 5 as we ride with Rusty.
And the last couple of times down the front stretch, guys, Rusty's taken a look to the inside of Terry Labonte. Hasn't been able to make that pass yet, but he keeps lining it up on the last couple of laps. Not going to make it this time either. Single file as they go through one, followed by Michael Waltrip, and then Wally Dallenbach, who continues to move up through the field.
There is Terry Labonte on the right. He also, along with Dale Earnhardt, is making his 500th NASCAR Winston Cup start here at the Bud at the Glen. We have completed 11 laps of this race. It's Mark Martin, then Gordon, Elliott, Labonte, and Rusty Wallace. Back at Watkins Glen, New York for the Bud at the Glen NASCAR Winston Cup race. There are your top 15 at the conclusion of 12 laps. Still Mark Martin leading Jeff Gordon and Bill Elliott. And moving up nicely into 25th spot would be Hut Strickland, who, made that pit stop before the green flag came out. Really started from the tail of the field and has now moved up to the 25th position.
Of course, Hut had originally qualified in the 20th position. Looks like Gordon might be gaining just a little bit on Mark Martin. Well, I don't know. As they go down into turn 1, it looks closer on the camera than it did otherwise.
Jeremy Mayfield, Lake Speed, also Ted Musgrave and Robert Presley are battling for position here.
And Rusty Wallace just got around Terry Labonte down here in turn 1, so he picks up a position. And also last time through here, Sterling Marlin lost 2 more positions as Ward Burton got by, and it looks like the Kodak Chevrolet may be slowing somewhat its pace on the race course.
There was Lake Speed going around the 98 car of Jeremy Mayfield.
Let's take a look at that move that Rusty made down the front stretch and into turn number 1.
Well, there he pulls out. Tries to get on the inside of Labonte, and he clears him. Going into the turn, no problem.
And at the top of your screen was Wally Dallenbach, who also went left to try to pick up a position from Michael Waltrip, but was unable to. Now,
hey guys, it's unbelievable.
Yeah,
Jeff Gordon, we found out this year is a great super speedway driver. He won the race at Bristol, so he's a short track driver. And now there's a road racer living in that little bitty body. Where does all those people go?
He is incredible, isn't he?
He has a tremendous amount of talent. And it looks like Bobby Hamilton has a problem. Yeah, maybe an engine problem, Bob. A lot of smoke coming from the STP Pontiac, and has headed already to the garage area.
So the STP Pontiac starting from the outside of the front row last week at Indianapolis with early problems. Let's go to the pit area for a report.
Bobby Hill has made a couple stops on pit road. The first when he pulled in, they had a fuel leak, a problem with the carburetor, and some raw fuel getting into the cockpit of the car. In fact, some of it leaked out on pit road and made quite a puddle. So they had to tighten that up, and then they had to use shop towels to soak up the gasoline that was inside the cockpit. And upon leaving, he was in too big a hurry and went too fast down pit road, had to come in for a stop and go. Let's go down pit road to Dr. Jerry Punch.
We're standing by in the Wood Brothers pit with Len Wood. And Len, a moment ago, we had a little bit of a shunt between Morgan Shepherd and Dale Jarrett. What happened out there?
I think they were both looking for the same spot on the racetrack at the same time, and they got together, and Morgan spun off the course. I think it knocked the front end out of line. We need a caution right now to get caught up and work on it a little bit.
So they're hoping for a yellow flag here. We might also comment that the car number 4 of Sterling Marlin that is being shown back in the pack apparently is having some transmission problems. He is being shown in 33rd spot. Remember, we told you at the top of the show, the points are going to be critical here as Rusty Wallace makes a move inside of Bill Elliott.
Yes, indeed. Once again in turn 1, where Bill Weber is positioned. He got to the inside and past Bill Elliott, so Rusty now goes to third.
And Dale Earnhardt just got past Michael Waltrip, and he and Wally Dallenbach both picked up a position. Dallenbach the last lap through here, and Dale Earnhardt just now picking up a position, passing past Michael Waltrip, and Earnhardt continuing his charge from that 15th starting position.
Hey, Earnhardt's got some rub on there, the left side there, Ned.
Did look like a little bit of damage there, Bob. Not affecting the performance of that Goodwrench Chevrolet. He now has moved up to the 8th position. Michael Waltrip drops back to 9th. You can see the green car on the right of your screen there was Bobby Labonte, who is running in the 10th position.
But some pretty good damage to that left front on the Goodwrench Chevrolet, guys.
Yes, there sure is, Benny. I don't know how that happened, but it's definitely rubbing the tire.
Well, there's Ricky Craven. He was running in the 12th position. But here, coming off of, where's that, turn 1?
I believe
the outer loop. Okay, the outer loop over there in front of Dorsey Schrader.
And a lucky guy he was at the high-speed section. He didn't get in the grass. Otherwise, he wouldn't be pulling away. Real lucky spin there. He stayed on the pavement and keeps going.
Here's Earnhardt again making the move. Excuse me, Bob. He was trying to get around Bobby Hillin, but again, a little bit of smoke off that Goodwrench Chevrolet down here in 1.
Yeah, he's definitely got a tire rubbing. When he came through here last time, you could see it pretty heavily.
They see you don't see it when he makes that right-hand turn as he comes up through the S's, and once he gets over in Dorsey's area, take a look at it. Yeah, you can see when it bounces, that fender is against that tire when it bounces, and I guess when he goes into those right-hand turns, I should have said there a moment ago, the left-hand turns, it leans away from it.
Dale started 15th, has moved up to 8th, but this could be a situation that affects the number 3 GM Goodwrench Chevrolet because the tire is definitely rubbing at some points. Just ahead of him is Bobby Hillin. Let's see if we can determine how this happened. Down in turn number 1, that is Michael Waltrip to the left.
It gets on the inside of Michael. Michael comes down to go into the turn like he normally would, and they get together, and that's where the damage was done. Let's go to the pits and Jerry Punch.
Well, they're watching down in the Dale Earnhardt pit very closely as they see that tire smoke and the tire rubbing by as the Terry Labonte car getting by Bill Elliott also. And now Ricky Rudd is going to make a move inside the McDonald's Ford to take the spot away. Well, we'll mention that prior to the race today, the Goodwrench crew actually took an air chisel and sliced both of the front fenders on the Goodwrench Chevrolet open and pulled them back in about 1.5 inches. They said they had too much fender flare. The car was getting loose going into corners. We thought the fender flare would help them as now Dallenbach makes his way by Bill Elliott. To the Pontiac, making a move past the Ford Thunderbird. But in any event, they did move the Earnhardt fenders in both the front, left, and right this morning, and they popped ribbon them back in place, and that may be contributing somewhat to the problem of the tire rubbing. Bob?
All right. It definitely is, and Bill Elliott is also losing positions. You saw Wally Dallenbach take 6th from him just a moment ago, and now Earnhardt's knocking on his rear bumper.
Now remember, Earnhardt started in the 15th position, now running 8th. Working on 7.
Earnhardt again steps out of line. Coming on the inside of Elliott, and he'll pick up another position, tire smoke or not. Dale Earnhardt still moving forward. Gets a little loose, and Elliott works his way by. So Dale had the position and lost it, and Elliott leads through 2 and up to the S's.
That was a perfect road racing move right there as he brought him in deep under braking, and Dale had to go out wide on the exit, and that allowed Bill to run right up the inside and up the hill. However, I still think Bill's falling back. You know, he's losing position, so his car's off a little bit right now.
Working on it there, Bob.
Yeah, maybe setting him up here outside of turn 5 there to.
Yeah, he's got the wider line, so he will probably get more speed coming off that corner and run down toward that left hand.
Be interested to see if Richard Julius and the crew has told Dale Earnhardt not to use so much brake going in the corner so he wouldn't drop that fender down on that tire so much.
That's a good point, VP. Hit those brakes hard, you shift that weight down there, well, it certainly makes it rub more.
Let's see if Earnhardt makes a move, Bill. I think he's going to try it again.
He's going to try and pull him up again, Bob, to the inside. Elliott sweeping into the turn, holds off the Goodrich Chevrolet. That was close. And by the way, it looks like Rusty's closing in on the back bumper of the DuPont Chevrolet. Right now, Earnhardt chasing Bill Elliott. The McDonald's Ford leads the charge up through there, followed by Earnhardt, and it's Michael Waltrip.
So a lot of good racing going on back there, but up here, it's still Mark Martin leading Jeff Gordon, as we're 19 laps into the 90-lap Bud at the Glen from Watkins Glen, New York. Seneca Lake, not too far from the Watkins Glen road course, the largest and deepest of the New York Finger Lakes, and you can enjoy a beautiful day of fishing from a pier. This thing is 600 feet deep, Lake Seneca, and is one of the many beautiful areas that you can visit when you come to this area of the country and enjoy a race at Watkins Glen. It is still Mark Martin, but in second place now is Rusty Wallace, and then Jeff Gordon and the 5-car of Terry Labonte. And looks like Jimmy Spencer got off course.
Yeah, taking a little ride over there in turn 10, but he keeps it down on the grass and didn't hit anything, Bob, so it shouldn't hurt anything. Hut Strickland, he's been in the pits for a lap, and they're pushing his car to the garage area, and another driver that's already in the garage area is with John Kerner.
Well, Ed, you can see the STP crew working furiously underneath their Pontiac. They're trying to get Bobby Hamilton back out there. Now, Bobby, you guys had to use a provisional to start this race on the outside pole last week at the Brickyard to a provisional this week. But you were making some moves until what? The transmission broke?
Yeah, we got into third gear. Schrader and I was really running good together. You know, I was letting him open the holes up, taking advantage of them. But both cars, the 25 car and the 43 car, was able to pass on the outside, the inside. The car was flawless. I mean, it was driving very good. And I'm not a road course person, but if I got something to judge off of, I usually run good. But we felt real good about the progress he was making. Now we got to see what we can salvage out of it.
Well, they will try and get this car fixed, get it back out on the racetrack. And, well, speaking of the Petty family, Kyle Petty, Richard's son, is slowing down out there on the track. Remember, we had told you earlier, potentially no brakes for him.
Well, he's very slow on the racetrack. He was running in 11th position, but has encountered some kind of a problem. He's trying to get to the inside so that he can enter pit road. Kyle Petty is not looking very promising here after 22 laps.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he has power. Now, whether the engine's running or whether the gearing came out or something, Bob, but he's just coasting around. I think he is going to be able to get back to the pits before the thing finally quits rolling on him.
Yeah, he was right at the entrance. In fact, yes, he has made pit road. And Dale Earnhardt now taking a look on Bill Elliott once again. These two have been battling for several positions. Dale had the position for just an instant, but then lost it as he came out of turn 1, and Bill got it right back again. So it's still Elliott running in 7th and Dale Earnhardt in 8th position.
Guys, the car 1 has been smoking really heavily as it comes around the outer loop here. It still is smoking heavily right now, as Earnhardt makes a move on Bill on the
There's contact. Bill spins around into the grass. Earnhardt gets by. Bill makes the save, loses 1, 2, 3 positions, then climbs back on the track in front of Dale Jarrett. So Earnhardt and Elliott. Dale was trying that move for several laps. Finally dove it in deep. Bill didn't want to relinquish his hold on that spot. There was contact, and the McDonald's Ford goes around here in turn 1.
It's incredible that he didn't lose any more positions than he did.
Yeah, really. He did a good job of getting it back out on the track. He lost, what did he say, 3 positions there, so that's not bad to make a complete 360.
So he falls now to 10th position and will be right ahead of Dale Jarrett and John Andretti. Here it is again in 1.
Well, there again, it's 2 drivers going for the same piece of real estate. Earnhardt down on the inside, thought he had it there. Elliott came down going into the turn as he normally would. We'll watch it from the high camera coming in here. There's Earnhardt driving down on the inside. And you see Elliott coming right down like he normally would going into that turn. Apparently didn't realize that Earnhardt was that far along up beside him and shoots him right out into the grass.
And real time now from Dale's roof cam.
Bill Elliott's very fortunate when he stood on the gas to try to spin the car around and make it do the 360, that the car was still on the asphalt. Because if he had tried that, had he been on the grass, he might have made it to the retaining wall.
You can see in the middle of this pack, Wally Dallenbach just coming through turn 1 a moment ago. He got around Ricky Rudd, and Dallenbach in the MBNA Pontiac has climbed into 5th position after starting 12th. Dorsey, there he goes.
Yeah, he's been working real hard through the inner loop here under braking, trying to get that move done, but gets it done in turn 1, and he is on the move. Remember, Wally's best finish in NASCAR was here. Number 1 car pitting for that smoke mode.
Yeah, Rick Mast has brought the Skoll Ford in for a stop. Going to go to work on the left side of the car, and Ted Musgrave is just coming out.
Yeah, he was just in for a 4-tire change and a fill-up of Unical gasoline, and they're doing the same thing to Rick Mast, and I guess they'll check out that smoke. Yeah, there's somebody looking underneath there to see where that smoke's coming from while they change the tires on the other side. They're going under the hood, see if they can see where the smoke's coming from.
Had a great run at Indianapolis last week in the Brickyard 400, Rick Mast did.
Finished in 8th place.
And John Kernan has caught up with Kyle Petty.
Well, he lost the brakes early, and then, Kyle, what put you back here in the garage area?
You know, it just slowed down going up through the S's. I don't know if it's a motor coming out of it or maybe the transmission coming out or rear end. You know, I don't know what the problem is. And so I hate to say one way or the other, but, you know, something in the drivetrain broke somewhere. And I mean, when you don't have much brakes, it ain't much fun out there. Anyhow, and it's not that you don't have brakes. I got plenty of pedal. It's just like they're glazed over or something's wrong with them. You mash the pedal as hard as you want to mash it, and it just won't stop.
It's got to be a very scary feeling out there, huh?
It's okay, except when people are in front of you. I like the white might go out on the 2nd or 3rd lap of the race, and because I didn't realize I had a problem, and I dove down under him, going in the corner real hard, and it just drove down into him, and I almost got into him. I got it sideways and backed into him almost before I hit him, but that saved him, so hopefully he'll have a good run.
All right, thank you, Kyle. Bob?
Kyle Petty, the only car officially out of the race right now, although they continue to work on the Bobby Hamilton machine. Pit stops are coming up. We'll be back for them in a moment. Just as you rejoin us, Mark Martin comes in for a pit stop and relinquishes the lead. Jerry Punch.
35 miles at 4,200 RPM in first gear, and you will notice they will change the right side tires first. Something new this year. They've been practicing back in the shop for about 2 weeks. They realized if they change the right side tires and the Jackman runs the same way he normally runs, which is counterclockwise, he will go to the left side of the car, which keeps the normal routine for the crew. Now, when they drop the jack, the crew will still be on pit road, and the car stalls. Now it refires as he leads, and Bill Elliott is in right behind him. Now, the Elliott crew taking the opposite approach. They will change the outside tires. They will change the outside tires first, and then come around and change as Elliott's crew now changing the right side tires. Still looking up for fuel. Bill had complained that the car was very, very tight. He said nothing, though, after that spin incident with Dale Earnhardt. He is down and away and headed back to turn 1.
Other cars made pit stops while we were away, including Jeff Bodine and Jeremy Mayfield.
Ricky Craven is in now, so is Joe Nemechek.
And Rusty Wallace comes down pit road for his pit stop, so he gives up the lead, and that gives it to Jeff Gordon. Jerry Punch, he's headed toward you once again at a very slow speed.
And that's 35 miles an hour. If you didn't hear me, that is 4,200 RPMs in first gear. Okay, Dale Jarrett's coming on here. Now going to work on the outside of the Miller Genuine Draft Ford Thunderbird. They will change outside tires. And right in front of him is Terry Labonte getting a tire change as well. So routine pit stop, even though they're under green here at the far end of pit road.
Finishing up the work on Rusty Wallace. There it is with a 19.3 second pit stop. And Rusty rolls again. Labonte is still on pit road in the Kellogg's Monte Carlo. Now he gets rolling again.
And Rusty's going to emerge from pit road door to door with Mark Martin. And then he falls in line as they go into 2. And Terry Labonte comes off pit road. And there's Dale Jarrett.
John Kernan has another pit stop.
Leitzinger is leaving pit road after a 4-tire change by his crew. Dale Jarrett was also in for 4 tires and fuel. There was some damage on the left front fender of Dale Jarrett's car, but it didn't look like it was causing any problems. They pulled it away to keep it away from the rubbing on the fender and the tire.
We assume that's when he and Morgan Shepherd had contact, right, Ned?
Yeah, I think that's when it happened. There we see Sterling Marlin in, as we see Brett Bodine coming out in the Lowe's Ford, and here Jeff Gordon coming down pit road along with Ricky Rudd right behind him as they use that 35 mile an hour. Dale Earnhardt is coming in.
Now the Rainbow Warriors go to work. They pounce on the DuPont Chevrolet. There's Earnhardt going to a stop just ahead of Jeff Gordon. John Andretti is also in. That's, of course, Ricky Rudd behind Jeff Gordon. A lot of work on pit road here. Sterling Marlin comes out after work done on the 3-car. Looks like Rudd will be rolling first, but right behind him now, right in front of him, is Jeff Gordon.
And then Earnhardt rolls out too, so they go out the way they came in.
Michael Waltrip picks up the lead momentarily. He has not pitted for his first scheduled stop, however. And Dick Trickle has spun in the inner loop.
Yep, he sure did. Dick had just gone on the left down to the leaders just before they started this round of pit stops. That should have put him back on the lead lap, but he'll have a pit stop coming up himself. No, he's being shown a lap down as Kenny Schrader in the Budweiser Chevrolet coming out, along with Derek Cope.
Schrader had moved up to 13th position after starting the race from the rear because of a crash yesterday in the final practice period.
Well, when Dick Trickle spun up here in the inner loop, Steve Grissom had to go straight, completely straight through that area, and it'll be interesting to see what they do with that.
Michael Waltrip gives up the lead to come in. That's his first pit stop. John Kernan, can you see this?
Yes, I can, Bob. It'll be a 4-tire change for Michael Waltrip. They will do the work on the left side first and come around to the right side. Second can of gasoline going in. Waltrip, a little bit of damage on the right side of the car where he'd gotten into someone out there on the racetrack. They finally get the lug nuts tightened, and Michael Waltrip, oh, he stalls the car. They're having to push him to restart the car. Waltrip losing some valuable time here on pit road, but finally he is down and away.
John, that damage came when he and Dale Earnhardt got together down in turn 1 when Earnhardt was passing him.
So Michael Waltrip now rolling once again, headed up toward the S's.
It doesn't take long on a road course to get your speed back up, unlike a Daytona or a Talladega. And look, Mark Martin finds some company on his back bumper there now in the way of Rusty Wallace.
And those guys are about 7 seconds ahead of Gordon and Labonte and Ricky Rudd. They went by about 7 seconds before that trio emerged from pit road, and Rusty trying to chase down Mark.
Now that's Rick Mast that is still smoking back there. We heard that he had dropped a cylinder and the thing continues to smoke. So Rick Mast having his problems. Rusty Wallace all over. Mark Martin now.
Looks like Rusty Wallace read about not having won a road race since 1990. And he's trying to make up for that today in 1995.
BP came in here with a lot of confidence. They have a new car, and here's Jeremy Mayfield and the RCA Ford in for a second pit stop. He had been in a little bit earlier for a pit stop. Let's go back to the pits and John Kernan.
Well, Ned, a bad break for Jeremy Mayfield as the hood goes up and they pull that right rear tire off. Apparently the battery is gone dead or going dead, and it looks like they will probably have to change the battery. So this is going to take a long time here on pit road, and Jeff Burton is now pulled off the course up around the inner loop.
Dorsey, what's the deal there?
Yeah, I saw that as he came up out of the S's, it looked like a big puff of smoke for Jeff Burton. He coasted to a stop and pulled off the racetrack. I'm afraid his day might be done.
Yep.
It looks like the fans are just trying to get in the car there with him, help him out a little bit. They're not quite as close as it looks there, I don't think. But Rusty Wallace is close to Mark Martin. He's as close as it looks right there.
You better believe it. He is really battling Rusty and Mark right now. Rusty, of course, with a great run at Indianapolis last week. John, what's the deal on the 98?
Bob, what has happened, apparently a wire from the alternator has broken. What that means is that the alternator cannot charge the battery, so they have zapped the battery strength. They've just sent a crewman scurrying back to the garage to get some parts to hopefully get this car fixed and get the RCA Ford Thunderbird back out on the racetrack. But right now, Jeremy Mayfield is sitting in the car, still here on pit road.
And up through the S's come Martin and Rusty Wallace once again. And Wallace just looking for any opportunity at all to pass him. Let's see if it might happen as they go to the inner loop.
He's been trying it here every lap. He's really been hard on the brakes getting in the inner loop. Right now he's on the outer line. He's not going to make a move this time.
So Mark Martin holds off Rusty Wallace's challenge for the moment. And we'll have more of our live coverage at the At The Glen from Watkins Glen International in a moment. At The Glen NASCAR Winston Cup race is 34 laps old at Watkins Glen, New York. And our overhead shots today being provided by the good people at Steel Chainsaws and Power Equipment. Some great shots coming from this beautiful area of the country. And there you can see the interval between first and second. Mark Martin just a few car lengths ahead of Rusty Wallace. The AutoZone interval leaderboard will show you that the interval between first and fifth is just a little over 8 seconds.
And here we see Sterling Marlin, the yellow car. He's about to go a lap down, Bob. He's being shown in 29th position. Dave Marcus is right behind him. Dave is the last car on the lead lap, but he's in danger of going a lap down.
We understand the 25 car of
Oh, yeah.
Ken Schrader is in trouble with a lot of smoke coming from the left side of that machine.
Yeah, it's coming out the exhaust pipe, Bob, so that's not too good.
I understand that it could be a transmission problem for Ken Schrader.
Well, they're looking at under the hood. One crew member looking at under the rear of the car. Of course, as we pointed out earlier, not been a good weekend for Ken Schrader and the Budweiser team. He had crashed here yesterday afternoon in practice, had to go to a backup car, and had moved back up through the field pretty good. He moved up into the top 15 at one point, and now sits on pit road.
That looked like a valve problem with the smoke coming out the exhaust pipe. And Earnhardt, slow Earnhardt.
Look at this. He's got something dragging on the right side of the car and has slowed considerably.
We're streaming from this side, Ned.
There's something you can see that's flapping in the wind there on that right side. I thought I saw that earlier right after he came out of the pits and thought it was just a piece of tape or something, and I think that's what that part is. And is he really going slower than he was?
Jerry, what's the situation?
That strap you see dragging on the right side of the Goodrich Chevrolet, that's been there about 15 laps. Actually, it was here when he pitted. It was just simply a little plastic strap along the right side of the car. The problem, though, with Earnhardt is much more severe. He radioed that he has lost second and fourth gear. He has first and third gear only, so obviously, unless they can get a caution flag and possibly get a look at the transmission, he's not going to be able to run at full speed until the next pit stop, or hopefully yellow flag for the Earnhardt crew.
Well, another possible setback to Dale Earnhardt's quest for 8 NASCAR Winston Cup championships.
Benny Parsons, you're an expert on these transmissions. What kind of a problem will that pose, having to miss a gear in shifting?
Well, I don't think it's going to pose any problem, except he won't be able to accelerate down the straightaway. He won't be able to use fourth gear. And in third gear, if that's the highest gear that he has, probably the car will run 120, 30 miles an hour maximum speed. We see Ted Musgrave just blowing by him down this, going in turn one.
So it really affects his speed. He'll have to be careful not to over-rev the engine.
Exactly.
That's really hard on the engine, because what he'll do is he'll run that thing right up the red line into the 8800 or whatever he's running, and he's going to have to hold it there for a long time, and it's really, really a strain.
Meanwhile, Ken Schrader's Budweiser Chevy is being pushed behind the wall and could be our third car out. John, is Ken with you?
Yes, he is, Bob. Ken has climbed out of the car down here on pit road. And Ken, you had to go to a backup car and started from the tail end of the field. You were moving to the front. What happened?
We broke something real important in the motor. Coming up the backside, it just bam, all of a sudden. So it broke something really important, but not a good weekend to be driving a Bud car. Kind of performance we had, especially at the Budweiser race, but it was going forward. We were about halfway through it, only third of the way through the race, so we were going to be somewhere decent.
Well, Ken Schrader's out of it for right now. They've pushed the Budweiser Chevrolet back to the garage area, and they will load it up.
So he joins Hut Strickland and Kyle Petty as officially out of the race. It continues to be Mark Martin in command of this event, with Rusty Wallace right behind him. And the next car to go a lap down would be the 28th place car of Sterling Marlin. So the 4 car certainly in the position to win the NASCAR Winston Cup Championship, about to go a lap down, and Dale Earnhardt, who comes into this event third in the point standings, is also having problems here at Watkins Glen. We'll be back with more live coverage after these messages. Mark Martin continues to lead, but we look back on a closing Rusty Wallace. Now let's take a look at the top 5 in points, where they started and where they are currently running.
Well, that Marlin is not in 5th place now. He is currently in 27th place.
And just about to be lapped, Nick.
Yes.
But he hasn't been, and it's been a couple of laps that Mark has been working on him, and understandably, Marlin doesn't want to go a lap down, so he's trying desperately to hold on to that position. Martin, except for the pit stops, has been in command of this race. He led 75 laps last year. He led 66 of the 74 at Sears Point earlier this year and finished second there.
Guys, Dale Earnhardt is really struggling coming through one. You see Mark trying to get around Sterling, Rusty right in behind. But Earnhardt really struggling. Dr. Jerry Punch, more on this.
Well, now the big concern in the Goodrich pits is brakes. Now, we have a suspension camera on the Goodrich Chevrolet. We'll maybe be able to show you a little later on. We're going to keep an eye on that. They have told Dale Earnhardt, hey, with no 2nd and 4th gear, you're just going to have to keep it in 3rd gear and ride. But you got to be very, very careful of those brakes because you don't have 2nd gear to slow the car down, and you're going to use those brakes up. So please be very easy on the brakes, and all you can do is ride right now with 3rd gear only.
And look at the incredible difference between this time and at the start of the race when he was really climbing on the binders.
Yeah, we don't have near the red there that we saw earlier, so he is taking it easy on those brakes. He's not running near the speed that he was before either, so that would make a big difference.
He's got to try to conserve everything right now, guys. You know, he's in a wounded car. He's waiting for a pit stop or something to happen. But if you push a car that's hurt like this, it will blow up on you. So he's trying to get through.
So Earnhardt back to 20th position now and continuing to lose positions, trying to baby that car as much as he possibly can.
You see that shock absorber working there? Shocks have become very important in NASCAR Winston Cup racing. And tuning the car, the chassis of the car. Here's Rusty still dogging the Mark Martin car.
Now let's show you that graphic once again, and this time it has been updated and correct. Gordon started 5th, is now 3rd. Marlin has moved up from 32nd to 27th, but still is about to lose a lap. Earnhardt has fallen 5 positions. Martin is still where he started. Now
guys, look at that. Sterling Marlin has driven away from Mark Martin and Rusty Wallace.
Sure has. In fact, he's got Earnhardt.
And Earnhardt is going a lap down.
Yep.
Well, we understand that last lap through there, he went straight through, did not make it through the inner loop. But in the driver's meeting, they told us that if you go straight through there, it's going to be a stop-and-go penalty unless you didn't gain anything. Right. When you come back to the start-finish line, if you hadn't gained anything, well, then you would not be penalized.
You know, guys, he might have gone straight through there and let the guys behind him through cleanly. Obviously didn't gain anything as he's falling backwards, so maybe it was a courtesy call on his part.
And pretty soon there's going to be a battle for 3rd. Wally Dallenbach is really closing up on the DuPont Chevrolet of Jeff Gordon. They're exiting turn 2, heading up through the S's. And that MBNA Pontiac is climbing right in behind Jeff Gordon, Dorsey.
Yes, he is indeed. You know, Wally's been real smooth. You got to watch him. I think guys have kind of forgotten about Wally being out there, and they're not accustomed to that car being right up there, and he's sneaking it right up into the top 3 right now.
Is he going to make a move there, Dorsey?
Yeah, indeed he is. As he's come through here. True road racer, under braking, gets through the turn. I've raced with Wally Dallenbach a lot of times, guys. He's got a lot of experience at this racetrack and a lot of different cars, and you know, there's no question about it. He's bucking for a ride. He wants to be back in this Winston Cup circuit full time, and he'll do everything he can to win this race today.
He sure does. So Dallenbach.
I wonder if Ray Evernham has told Jeff Gordon, look, Earnhardt's having trouble, Sterling Marlin's having trouble. You've got to finish this race. If you can finish this race, we just might win the championship. Is he horse racing right now?
Good point, BP. Could very well be. And certainly he doesn't need to take any unnecessary chances at this point with his a couple of his competitors having troubles.
We understand that the Earnhardt car has been black flagged.
Well, it might be for that violation over there at the inner loop. Is look at Rusty Wallace drive right up on Mark Martin, and might have tapped him just a little bit there as he came up on
they were
Dale
both
Earnhardt.
trying to get around the Dale Earnhardt car. They continue to run in the same order now. Mark Martin has led all but 4 laps of this race. And by the way, while the pit stops were being made, Jeff Gordon did have the lead. And that was the first time that he led on a road course. Yeah.
Sorry, Jimmy Spencer off the course down here. Backs it around, gets it back in gear. And Jimmy, after another adventure, will head back out on the track.
Mr. Excitement, providing a lot of excitement for people all around the course. That's at least twice that he has gotten off the racetrack. And he's in 15th spot. May have lost a few positions there, but he's back in that general area.
Yeah, I think he lost about 4 or 5 spots there, Bob. We're going to take a look at it and see what happened to Jimmy. It was already in progress. He'd gotten off course, spun around, brought up a little dust. That's hard to imagine after all the rain we had here on Friday and Saturday, but nevertheless, it does bring up some dust right in front of Bill Elliott.
And Jerry has an update on Dale Earnhardt's situation.
Well, apparently we're not the only ones that's had some radio communication problems out here at the far end of pit road. NASCAR just a moment ago radioed their official and said, you must tell the 3-car they must go through the chicane. Apparently the official misunderstood and told the crew chief, you can bypass the chicane. So Earnhardt went straight through, providing you don't gain anything. So he went straight through to save his brakes. When the NASCAR officials in the tower saw that, they said, no, 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 you must go through the chicane. Then the official heard him on his radio and went back and said, no, guys, you have to go through the chicane. The inner loop up there, you cannot bypass. So apparently a little miscommunication, but they now have it straightened out, and Earnhardt will not be made to come on pit road.
Well, of course, not going through the inner loop right there would save some brakes. Let's give a call to Butch Leitzinger here in the number 40 car, running in 13th position, a real true road racing veteran.
He has been moving up through the field very nicely. He spun in qualifying here on Friday in the first round of qualifying. And, boy, sweated it out yesterday as it rained off and on all day. Didn't know if they wanted to get a second round of qualifying. Finally, they did. He was the second round fastest qualifier and wound up starting in 21st position.
So he'll be eligible for the wild card of the Busch Clash then next year.
Yes, he will.
How about that?
Yes.
There you see that
Bill Elliott, the outside pole sitter, is falling back. Evidently, the pushing problem he had early on is not gotten any better.
Yeah, he's continuing to fall back. He's now in fourth to make it 15th position. There's Robert Presley right there, who is in a battle not only on the racetrack, but for Rookie of the Year honors. He trails Ricky Craven at the moment by just 3 markers, so a good showing for Presley. And a bad one for Ricky Craven. Could change that situation, but Craven at the moment is running 17th. John Kernan has more on Robert Presley.
Well, I was talking to him this weekend along with his car owner, Leo Jackson. They came up just prior to the Brickyard 400 and tested here, brought Trans Am Road Racing Ace Jack Baldwin to help him out. And if you saw NASCAR Today with Dave Despain and Alan Bestwick on ESPN2, you heard that the fact that they asked Ricky Craven if he had a coach, and he said, well, once Robert Presley's out there on the track, he won't have Jack Baldwin in the car with him to help him out. But Robert said Jack helped out tremendously, and it looks like he has learned those lessons well.
Indeed it does. Well, Sterling Marlin has lost a lap, so has Steve Grissom, so then there are now 23 cars on the lead lap, and the next car to go a lap down would be Joe Nemechek. There's Marlin in 25th position, but down a lap before we reach the halfway mark.
And you can see the 43 car of Bobby Hamilton is back out there, Bob. He is about 30 laps down.
Mark Martin continues to lead the Bud at the Glen by the narrowest of margins over Rusty Wallace. Track Facts are brought to you by Quaker State, the intelligent oil for longer engine life.
When the manufacturer started putting 4-speed transmissions in the vehicles back in the 60s and Hurst started making a shifter, this is one of the first shifters that we had. And you can see the curve, that had to go around the bench seat. The problem is, look how much leverage you can get with this piece. I can pick up that entire crate of drive shaft. Well, the drivers today are using a very short shifter to reduce the amount of leverage. Watch. I can't pick it up. Okay, here's a conventional transmission with a conventional shifter. It goes on like that. Now, here's the short one. uh-oh, we got a problem. How do we get from there down to here to grip the shifter? Because the driver can't lean out of the car like that. So here's what they've done. A bracket that bolts on the transmission that number one, moves it back, also up. There the shifter goes, the driver just off the steering wheel right to the shifter. But, you know, here's something new that I'm not familiar with, a new kind of shifter. Let's go check this out. Okay, this is the Hurst shifter. You see all the moving parts. This is the new long shifter with the rails, and you can see just how few moving parts there is in this shifter. Here's how the shifter works. The ball goes down in the slot. You want to select a gear, you just like that. Okay, here we have it, the new long shifter, the short shifter. That's third gear, fourth gear. Man, does that feel good. I might try my hand driving again.
I was going to say, you look right at home there shifting those gears, Benny, like you were going to make race noises and pretend like you were back in the car again.
How you like that short, long shifter, huh?
Yeah.
Jeff Bodine and Benny, number one. All right.
I tell you what, Bodine
pretty high country in Chemung, New York.
Yeah. Bodine is having a good race. He's in 10th position. He started in 30th, so he is doing very well out there. We will continue to look back on Rusty Wallace from Mark Martin's car. Now we're with Jeremy Mayfield. Here are the top 15. Bill Lilly, as you can see, has dropped back to 15th position after starting this race from outside row number 1. Here's 16 through 30 now. You can see that Joe Nemechek and Lake Speed have lost a lap.
Well, Lake Speed was just in the pits a few laps ago, Bob, so that's how he went his lap down. Nemechek got lapped on the racetrack. We'll see pit stops coming up here before too long.
And finally, the remainder of the field. Notice that Ron Fellows in 34th position is out of the race. Ron, of course, the SCCA Trans Am driver who won here at Watkins Glen yesterday. His Winston Cup race did not last very long. And Butch Leitzinger has picked up another position, going around Dale Jarrett for 12th spot.
And Jeff Gordon just moved into 3rd position, making a pass down here in turn 1. He got around Wally Donaldson, guys.
Okay. We understand that Jarrett is having a brake problem on the Texaco Havoline Ford.
And John is there to update us.
I was just talking to Larry McReynolds a couple of laps ago. He said, yeah, the brakes are fading on the 28 car, and so Dale is having to really baby that car around the track, trying to save the brakes so he'll have enough to finish this race. And we should have pit stops coming up between laps 55 and lap 60, and some of the teams will stretch it up to about lap 58, 59. That means they could go with just one more stop. That would be their last stop of the day.
So we will be seeing pit stops within the next 5 laps. We are 50 laps in, 40 to go in this 90-lap event. There's Dale Jarrett running in 13th position.
But Darrell Waltrip is coming up on him. Darrell is running in the 14th position. Darrell having a good run here today in the Western Auto Chevrolet. He started back in the 27th position. So he's picked off about half of those that started in front of him, about to get another one.
Darrell Waltrip's best finish here at Watkins Glen, a second in 1986. John Kernan has more on Darrell Waltrip.
Well, on Friday during qualifying, Darrell's transmission broke, and he had to go through second round qualifying yesterday. This is a car that they built last year, and they only run it here at Watkins Glen. It was built especially for this racetrack, and now he gets around Dale Jarrett as DW comes down and enters turn number 1. I was talking to Pete Wright on the crew this morning, and Pete said the number 1 thing is track position out here. You might see us make some 2-tire stops on the day. And Ted Musgrave is now in for service. We've had a report that Musgrave has had an ignition problem, a little bit of a skip in the motor. They've already done the right stir on the left side, and look at that major chassis adjustment for Musgrave in the left rear of that car. He is first among the teams come in and pit.
And he was in 11th position, and remember, he is also among the top 5 in points and certainly within shot of the NASCAR Winston Cup Championship this year. And Musgrave getting back out on the racetrack. There you can see he has lost a lap while he was in the pits.
Yep. And what I said at the top of the show, you can make a pit stop here and not lose a lap, a green flag pit stop, but you got to be running up with the leaders in order to do that, and Ted was about half a lap behind.
There are some lap cars coming through, and now we get back to 3rd place, Jeff Gordon. And Jerry Punch has an update on Jeff.
Well, Benny Parsons mentioned a few moments ago that possibly Ray Evernham may have radioed his young driver and said, hey, listen, the guys behind you in points, the 3-car and the 4-car, are both having trouble. And Benny, that's exactly what Ray Evernham did a few minutes ago. He radioed Jeff Gordon, said, hey, the 3 and the 4 are both having trouble. You know what that means? And Jeff very quietly said, enough said. He said, Ray came back and said, you know, we don't need any problems, so don't expect to see Gordon hustle the car right now. They're going to come in at around lap 56 to 58 for what should be their final scheduled pit stop. And then with 10 to go, watch the youngster who grew up in Indiana begin to hustle that DuPont Chevy.
But he has gotten around this car, the 22 of Wally Dallenbach, for position. Trading those spots the last few laps. And right behind Wally Dallenbach is Tide Chevy, driven by Ford, driven by Ricky Rudd.
And right behind him is Terry Labonte, the Kellogg Chevrolet, as they head down into turn 1 in front of Bill Lumber.
And that's been a real good battle, guys, the last several laps. Gordon, Rudd, Dallenbach in there, Labonte trying to close it up. They've been jockeying for position the last couple of times. And a few laps ago, Jeff got around Wally and into third.
Terry Labonte has won twice on a road course, both of them at Riverside. Looking for the 30 car of Michael Waltrip. There he is in 7th spot.
Not too far behind those front runners. Having a good run here today. There comes Bobby Labonte. He's the next car, the Interstate Battery Chevrolet. He is in the 8th position. So Bobby having a good solid run here. Hasn't been a threat up front. I talked to Jimmy Maycar, the crew chief, this morning, and he said, I think we're good. He said, I don't think we're a threat to win this race, but he said, I think we're definitely a good top 10 contender, and he was right on.
And John Andretti seems to have put his program back together. He had a good early part of the season, was in the top 10 of points for a while, and then has kind of fallen off. But last week had a good run at Indianapolis, finishing just outside the top 10. And there is Jeff Bodine, one of the hometown favorites, running in 10th.
Looked like one of Jeff Bodine's brake hoses in the rear is falling down, dragging the racetrack. And we saw Dale Earnhardt earlier when he hit the brakes, those rotors would turn cherry red. That's why they're on all those brake hoses to the front and rear brakes, trying to keep them cool as possible, because just like Dale Jarrett knows right now, they will overheat in a rush. And Robert Presley got some problems after a great run.
Yep, he was 15th, but the car is very slow off of turn number 5. Back with more from Watkins Glen International, and the caution flag is out for the first time. We'll be right back. ESPN Speed World today, bringing you live coverage of the Bud at the Glen from Watkins Glen, and it's being brought to you by Black & Decker, the source of powerful gift ideas. By McDonald's, have you had your break today? And by Firestone, America's tire since 1900. Fewest cautions here at the Glen, 3 in 1992. We have just had our first. Moments ago here, we take a look from Rusty's in-car camera.
They're behind the caution car, and he pulls up beside with Mark Martin and gives him a thumbs up.
How about that?
Yeah.
As if to say, this is fun. Let's keep this up and let me ahead of you with about a lap to go, and I'll win the race.
Yeah.
That's a couple of Ford guys having fun for the first time in quite a while.
We are under caution, and these cars that are currently, near the inner loop, I guess, will be coming around to pit.
Yeah, they'll be coming into pits because pit stops were coming up very quickly. We noticed that Ted Musgrave did make the green flag pit stop. He went a lap down, but having a buddy, a teammate out on the racetrack, Mark Martin is his teammate. Mark let him go back by before they got to the caution, so Ted Musgrave got back in the lead lap.
How about that? There are 22 cars in the lead lap, and Musgrave right now being shown in the 22nd spot.
Now, the driver who had made a pit stop that was hurt most by this was Lake Speed. He had made a green flag pit stop. He was running in the lead lap, but he went a lap down. Unfortunately, he was not up there or quick enough or up there near enough to the leaders to be able to get back in the lead lap, and here come the leaders down pit road.
Here they come. Everybody on the lead lap will be coming in for service. 35 miles an hour, very slow down this narrow pit road where the pits are kind of tight. There you see Sterling Marlin flanking off and stopping, and the crew going to work on it. Martin and Wallace are pitted on down toward turn number 1, and John Kernan is there.
Wally Dahlem back in for a 4-tire change. Right side's going on first. Oh, and the tire hits the jacket. Starts to drop, but it didn't hurt. Now they're going around to the other side. Jerry punches in Mark Martin's pit.
And they have already changed right side tires. They're not going to change the outside or left side tires. And he's filled it up with gas. A great pit stop by the Valvoline crew as they will beat Rusty Wallace's crew down pit road. Gordon is the third car, then Marlin and Rudd. And here is Michael Waltrip. Now, let's go back up to John Kernan.
Dale Jarrett and Ricky Craven finally leave. Jarrett was in. They made sure they got every single drop of gasoline in that car. 34 laps to go. And I was talking with Bill Davis, who owns the car. Wally Dallenbach is in. As Earnhardt now comes in down into his pit. But he says it will be extremely close on fuel. Let's go down to Dale Earnhardt's pit and Jerry Punch.
And they have not jacked the car up to put anything under the car or work on the transmission. Dale Earnhardt said, hey, don't worry about the shifter. Don't worry about the transmission. Leave it in third gear. Let's just ride and get the best finish we can. And he was very, very slow to leave pit road. Hey, but guys, the concern down here at this end of pit road among the Martin team is the fact that possibly it is going to be very, very close on fuel.
He was slow coming in, Ned, and he's even slower going out because in third gear you got to take it really easy building up speed. And he was very slow coming out. There he is in turn number 2 as the rest of the field is behind the pace car under caution for the first time today here at Watkins Glen with 56 of the 90 laps completed. This is the world-famous Glen Gorge. It stretches west from its Main Street entrance in Watkins Glen to the Watkins Glen State Park. The 8th wonder of the world, they call it. It has 19 waterfalls. Very, very picturesque. We just went green. Benny, that looks like something that you might be interested in, aren't you? An old cliff diver from way back?
Oh, yeah, of course. I'm more interested in watching Rusty Wallace and Mark Martin right now, figure out who's going to win this race.
It's been close since the drop of the green flag. Mark Martin has held the lead for most of that time except during pit stops, but Rusty has never been more than just a few car lengths behind. They're bottled up behind now some slower traffic. That's Elton Sawyer and Bobby Hamilton.
That's sometimes the break you look for if you're a Rusty Wallace trying to find a way by Mark Martin. Is have Mark get held up behind somebody and look to go the other way, but it didn't happen this time as they're clear out of here.
Bob, this was a very quick caution, and I think NASCAR allowed all the cars to pit that wanted to, whether they were lap down or not, during that, when they came around that.
We did see Sterling there in with the first set. So he was, of course, a lap down. Look at this.
Oh, boy. That is close.
A face full of Ford.
Well, you can see how mean that thing looks when he gets up there that close. I understand that Robert Presley is still having a problem in the 33 car. Somewhere on the racetrack going slow.
He came through the inner loop up here and he's shaking the car back and forth like something, like almost like a fuel problem, but he's just coasting. Got a yellow flag up here.
There's Jimmy Spencer moving around Brett Bodine. There's Derek Cope in the car number 12 right in front of him. A little smoke coming from Brett Bodine's car there.
Yep, sure is.
Looks like he got into someone with a left front fender.
Yeah, looks like there is some damage there, too. There you can see when he goes into a right-hand turn and it gets down on that tire. That's exactly where the smoke's coming from. Similar to what Earnhardt's problem was a little bit earlier. And we understand that Robert Presley has stopped. Oh, there's trouble with Dick Frecklin, Morgan Shepherd, and Derek Cope.
All three of them got together right up here by me, reminiscent of what I did a few years ago, I'm afraid. There was a full course yellow, guys, here this entire time for the 33 car as that pass attempt.
Well, there still is no yellow out at the start-finish line.
I think we're okay because all three cars that were involved in that got going again. The one I was concerned about was Derek Cope, and he did start going again, so I think we're okay, but there's a lot of damage to the Citgo Ford of Morgan Shepherd, and there's the 33 stalled car up on the right corner of your screen, Robert Presley. So that would be why we have the full course caution if we do. John, what's the situation with 33?
Well, earlier on,
one, Robert only had fourth gear. He just had fourth gear for the transmission. Apparently the transmission has gone ahead and given it up, as they say. The crew has already left the pits and headed back to the garage area, hoping to get Robert pushed in. And Morgan Shepherd comes down pit road. You can see all the damage. And now, Bob, the caution flag waves at the start-finish line.
So the second caution within just a very few laps waves over Watkins Glen road course. Now take a look at this. This is headed into the inner loop, and 3 cars go for the same spot. We've seen 2 go for the same spot, but Ned, 3 of them went for this one.
No way they can get in there, Bob. 3 abreast. Dick Trickle, a lap down. He gets tapped, Morgan Shepherd, and there's Derek Cope spinning off on the left side of your screen out into the grassed area. And then Brett Bodine comes in and locks his brakes up.
Now from Jeremy Mayfield's in-car camera, the roof cam, real time. Let's watch it.
Well, it looks like some real estate in front of him, and all of a sudden, everything breaks loose up in front of him. He makes a good move to the outside of Trickle there. Jeremy Mayfield drives right on by.
The cones were flying everywhere, and cars were spinning everywhere, but everybody is okay. But we are under caution for Robert Presley's stalled car as Mark Martin continues to lead at Watkins Glen. There's part of the crowd here at Watkins Glen, estimated at 150,000. It says, Davey, Alan, Neal, JD, take care of Jerry, in reference to Jerry Garcia, of course, who passed away this past week. And early this morning, boy, lost one of my heroes. Mickey Mantle passed away.
He was a hero of mine, too, Bob. Sorry to hear that.
All right, let's go to Jerry Punch for a report on pit road. Jerry?
Guys, prior to this caution flag, there was a lot of calculators flying down here. Basically, here's what they were trying to figure out. Averaging about 3.8 miles per gallon on a road course. It's about a mile and a gallon less than they get on an oval track because of all the shifting. The 24 team said, hey, by our calculations, it may cough on lap 90, which is the last lap, but we should make it. Now, the 6 car said our car will begin coughing and spitting on lap 89, and we may not make it. The 2 car said, hey, our car's going to cough and quit on lap 88. Now, Gordon, as I told you, they thought they could make it, so he stayed out. But the 6 car said, absolutely no way we can take a chance. We're going to come down pit road. They told Rusty, said, you do what the 6 car does. So obviously, here comes Mark, and here comes Rusty. They will come in, top them off. They should have no problem making it from here on. But Gordon is going to stay out and try to possibly get a road course victory and lengthen that Winston Cup point lead.
And Jerry, you told us early in the show the track position is everything, and they're losing a lot of track position here, but it could pay off for them at the end of the race. Jeff Bodine, and a collision as they come out. Rusty ran into the back of Bodine, and I think Bodine may have hit Mark Martin.
He appeared to from this angle, guys, and I'll tell you, what they were doing is they were slowing down to let that field go by because of the stop-and-go paddle at the end of pit road. And they really got jammed up there.
Wow, this could really...
And we can see how much damage to the right front of Rusty Wallace's car. He's going to have to go back in the pits because the tire is revving the fender.
You're right, Benny. A lot of smoke coming from that. Yeah, he's got too much damage to continue there. Mark Martin, he pulled up beside of Mark and said, how does it look? And Mark said, waved him off, said, you got to go back to the pits.
Yeah. Let's look at it again.
Okay, here they come out of the pits. And as Bill Weber pointed out, Mark Martin slowed down before those on the racetrack to go by, and Rusty, still going there pretty good head of steam, runs into the back of Jeff Bodine. Take a look at it from the helicopter. And here we are. Mark Martin leaves. Here comes Jeff Bodine at a pretty good rate of speed down through there, but it looks like he's going to get slowed down. He sees what's happening up there. Rusty doesn't see what's happening apparently, and he comes in and hits Jeff Bodine. Bodine hits Mark Martin. Don't think it did too much damage to Mark Martin's car.
Yeah, I think Rusty came out on the worst end of this deal. Let's take a look from Mark's bumper cam looking back on Jeff. There's the hit that, well, that's
hit it pretty good.
Significant, yeah.
Really, yeah. It's harder than it looks. Looked like it could have knocked that spoiler up a little bit back there.
There's the damage on the right side of Rusty's car. Smoke pouring from the right corner.
Boy, Rusty Wallace just cannot catch a break, can he?
Nope, that's for sure. 6th in points coming in, 473 behind the leader, Jeff Gordon. And at this point in the season, you figure that the Winston Cup champion is going to come from the top 5 because the top 5 are only separated by 218 points. Well, the fine folks at Steel are bringing you today's terrific helicopter shots. Steel, makers of a full line of leaf blowers, trimmers, and the #1 selling brand of chainsaws nationwide. Steel, powerful, easy to use, and durable. Great shots from overhead at Watkins Glen.
You know, Mark Martin, I think, stopped on his own. I don't believe that the stop man was down that far. I think that Steve Mills or someone probably said to Mark, look, you've got to let the field go by. You can't blend in the middle of the pack. You have to wait till the field goes by. So I think he was slowing down his own because the stop man that holds the paddle is back up on pit road 30, 40 yards before these fellows had the accident. So I think that Steve Mills probably told him that, and Mark did it on his own.
You're exactly right, Benny, because the paddle was actually green when they emerged from their pit stalls. And Mark started coming down pit road, and either on his own or, as you mentioned, from word from Steve Mills, slowed down, and that's when that chain reaction accident happened. The paddle was green when Mark emerged from his pit stall.
Okay, the green flag is coming out, and Rusty Wallace, let's see.
Staying out, isn't he? Let's see. Nope, he's coming
down pit road. He and Elton Sawyer both coming down pit road. So, boy, it is a tough break for Rusty Wallace and the Miller Genuine Draft team as he comes down pit road slowly. There you can see his car headed into the pits at the 35 miles an hour speed limit. They'll have to perhaps change that right side tire. Definitely pull that sheet metal away. Jerry Punch.
Unbelievable. The man who dominated the road course racing from 1987 to 1990, winning 5 out of 7 events, again has not gone to victory lane since June of 1990, and looks like it won't happen today. Right front fender crumpled back in. The crew now pulling, trying to get that fender pulled away. Todd Parent now trying to pull the fender back up. One crew member inside, and what they're working on is the area of the brake caliper, and now Robin Pemberton gets out here and will try to cut one of the brake ducts that apparently has gotten wrapped around part of the A-frame. So a lot of valuable time. To remember, it takes over 1 minute and 15 seconds to run a lap here, even under green, this late in the race. So Rusty in no jeopardy of losing a lap, but possibly losing the race. Well, that may already be gone, Bob.
And here come the leaders now off of corner number 11. And so Rusty will lose a lap. Jeff Gordon is the leader of the race, and Wally Dallenbach is second. He may be making a move on Jeff.
Wally steps out of line, then ducks back in behind the DuPont Chevrolet, chased by Ricky Rudd, Terry Labonte, Bobby Labonte, and Darrell Waltrip, your top 6.
They're in single file formation. Let's go back to Rusty Wallace's situation. Here is the real time in car as he ran into the back of Jeff Bodine a few minutes ago as he was coming off pit road. Rusty waits on pit road for the damage to be repaired so that he can get back out there in competition. It looks like we've got
the new leader, guys.
New leader is Wally Dallenbach.
Boy,
how about that?
Driving his heart out here today. We'll see how it happened.
That's setting up, coming up, I think, out of 1. He's moved to the inside of the DuPont Chevrolet, and he's going to have a run up into the S's, or I guess that's headed toward me, actually, for the inner loop. And he outbrakes him, has the preferred line, and is going to come through the inner loop with a big lead.
So Wally Dallenbach makes the move going into the inner loop in the MD in a Pontiac.
Let us not forget, Ned, that he finished second here to Mark Martin in 1993. And he started that race, and this is his 5th race here at the Glen. So this is by no means a surprise, but yet he is leading the rest of the veterans.
Did he test in this car up here, or did he do all this practicing yesterday and Friday and Saturday, or did he come up to Bill Davis and test his car? Does anyone know?
No, they did come up and test the car, Benny. So he knew what he wanted done to the car when they came back here this week. Yes, they tested and were very pleased with the test that they ran.
Well, right now he's running away with whatever he's got underneath there. He is just getting with it.
Meanwhile, Mark Martin is back in the pack there trying to come back up through the field, and Jerry Punch is with his crew chief.
let's try to uncover some of the mystery here. Steve, we saw Mark Martin slow while leaving the pits. Why did he slow down?
Well, Mark's real aware of what's going on the racetrack. He looked in his mirror when he come on pit road and saw probably 15 or 20 cars did pit. He knew with us just getting gas for 2 or 3 seconds, when we pulled off pit road, we'd be ahead of some of the cars on the racetrack, and you can't come out of the pits in front of them. So in order to get lined up right in the queue, he slowed down. The rest of them guys just weren't using their head, and I guess they run over each other.
That's the story. Mark Martin trying to wait and fall in at the tail of the field, and you saw what happened behind him.
Elaborating on your point just a little bit, Benny, indeed, Wally did test here and turned in the 4th fastest speed during the test at 117.6. The fastest, by the way, were Martin Wallace and Ron Fellows, who, of course, is already out of this event. So it's Wally Dallenbach up front, followed by Gordon, Rudd, Labonte, and Labonte. Tonight at 8 o'clock here on ESPN, catch the Sunday night baseball game between the Mets and the Astros. The Mets, of course, getting rid of high-priced veterans like Bobby Bonilla and Brett Saberhagen. The Astros, taking off in the second half, have made a run at the National League Central leading Cincinnati Reds. So the Mets and the Astros will battle it out at 8 o'clock tonight on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball. Here's our Budweiser race recap now. And Wally Dallenbach is the leader at the end of 65 laps. We've had 6 lead changes, 2 caution periods, a total of 4 laps, and the average speed of the race is 102.092. That is a record. The previous record, 93.752, held set in 1994. There are the cars that have led a lap. Mark Martin, of course, has led the most. He is back in the pack, fighting his way up through after a pit stop under caution.
He is back up to 7th now.
And there are the cars that have dropped out of competition, including Strickland, Petty, Burton, Mass, Schrader, and also out of the race was Ron Fellows. And there is the interval between first and second. Wally Dallenbach enters turn 1, and there is Good and Rudd and Labonte.
And Mark Martin makes a move to the inside of Darrell Waltrip, picks up a position, and now he follows Bobby Labonte heading to turn 2.
Martin up to 6th place. He hasn't had this experience today, Bob, of trying to come up through the field. And as we said early, it's tough to pass on this racetrack, even though he has a very fast race car.
Mark Martin is driving the same car that he drove here in 1990 and 91 and 92 and 93 and 94.
He likes that car.
He likes it.
Yeah. Well, they
it's
did.
been good to him.
Yeah, they brought a brand new car up here, brought this car up here, and he liked the old car the best. So they said, okay, we'll take it back.
Most of these guys running a Jericho transmission, which is straight cut gear transmission, and they'll brake with their left foot and not even use the clutch on a downshift like that. And these gearboxes are a real godsend to these guys.
A lot to think about out there, Dorsey.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, a lot more than usual for these guys. A lot of shifting and braking going on. You mismatch a shift, get into a corner, it'll lock up the back wheels on the car and will spin you out just like pulling the handbrake. And Mark's on the move now.
That is not a battle for position. Jeremy Mayfield is 2 laps down in 27th, and Sterling was in 20th position, 1 lap down. And there is the leader once again, Wally Dallenbach. He has a 2.7 second lead on Jeff Gordon and a 5.6 second lead on 5th place Bobby Labonte. John Kernan has a report.
Bobby Wally Dallenbach, the leader's pit with Chris Hussey as crew chief, and he's having some problems with some fumes coming in the car. Chris, how's Wally doing out there?
He's not doing very good right now, believe it or not. He's complaining of some oil tank fumes. The oil tank's right there beside of him in a road race car. And Wally hasn't driven in a while. I'm sure you become immune to that after a while. We may still have a problem with him, but he's gotten sick one time, and that's when he fell back a little earlier. But running up front's the best medicine he can get. And he said he's going to suck it up for this whole MBNA team and hopefully win this thing for us.
Well, we've seen him. He started to pull away, it looks like, from our vantage point on pit road. Let's go further down pit road to Dr. Jerry Punch.
Guys, I spoke with Dallenbach just prior to the race on our NASCAR Today show, and he was telling us, today I really need to run well. This couldn't happen at a better time for me. He may possibly be getting ready to announce a Winston Cup team for next year. Early next week, he is going to meet with 2 different car owners, potential car owners. They're going to go visit some existing car owners and talk about forming their own team. So possibly next year, he'll run both the North American Touring Series on road courses as well as possibly a full season in Winston Cup.
Well, the best finish for this car that Dallenbach is driving today, and it's had 3 different, this is the 3rd driver, Randy LaJoie and Jimmy Hensley. Its best finish this year was 12th at Bristol, so it's certainly on a record pace for this year. As you once again watch a Fram field summary showing you where everybody is.
And there's Jimmy Spencer in the Smoking Joe's Ford number 23. And he was being shown a lap down a little bit earlier, but NASCAR has put him back on the lead lap. So apparently he beat the leaders back to the start-finish line or something anyway. Jimmy is being shown in the 16th position at the moment, 19 cars on the lead lap. And we might mention also, we saw that encounter over there with Morgan Shepherd and Derek Cope. They're both back out there running. Derek is still in the lead lap, and Morgan Shepherd is back out there, even though he's 5 laps down, being shown in the 32nd position in the second Ford.
Good run for Ward Burton, who started at the back of the pack. He is now running up in 18th position, and Elton Sawyer spun, Dorsey.
Yeah, he sure did. Just came into the inner loop and got up on top of the curb. Car got out from under him, come through the grass right there, got on 2 wheels, and he's sitting off the racing line, but the car is stalled there. We'll have to see if Elton can keep going.
I don't know whether this would bring out a caution or not if he can't get the car going. He's not on the racetrack per se, and he may be able to drive. Yeah, it looks like he may be able to drive away when he gets clearance here.
Yeah, there's so many cars coming by now, he can't pull it back out there. Just look, the train just keeps on coming, and no opening there. And he's got the car moving. Did you see that?
I'll talk about losing track position, huh?
And folks, you see that yellow flag waving over there? On road courses, they use yellow flags on particular parts of the racetrack, and the drivers were told in the drivers meeting when that flag is waving vigorously, that means that there's trouble in that particular turn. That does not mean that there is a full course caution, and there certainly is not at this time.
And guys, Mark Martin is already up to 4th. He's gotten around Bobby Labonte and Terry Labonte and is closing on Rudd and Gordon. So Mark Martin back up to 4th now. We work lap 73.
The laps are winding down. Just 17 to go in the Bud at the Glen. Right now in command of this race is Wally Dallenbach. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned after today's race for NASCAR Shop Talk. We have a whole new lineup of merchandise from Jeff Gordon, Bill Elliott, and Dale Earnhardt, including 1995 Brickyard 400 champion items. That's today at 3:30 Eastern.
Well, the Brickyard 400, certainly a memorable event in its 2nd year with all the rain. You'll be able to pick up some merchandise by watching Shop Talk after our broadcast. Mark Martin has moved to 3rd. And there are the point leaders and where they are running right now. Gordon running 2nd, Marlin back in 20th, Earnhardt all the way back to 26th, then Mark Martin is 3rd, and Ted Musgrave 14th. So really, Gordon and Martin are the only ones that are having particularly good days, and we also might mention that Rusty Wallace, who is 6th in points, has fallen 2 laps down to 30th position. What is the situation now regarding fuel? Now, most of these guys did come in during that 2nd caution and top off, but Jeff Gordon did not.
No, I don't think Dallenbach came in either during that last top off, so they would be the ones in question. However, their crews felt they might be able to make it. What about it, Jerry? Any recalculation there?
I don't think there's any concern down pit road toward the Valvoline pits. They feel pretty comfortable. Most people down that end are okay. The only concern down here might be Jeff Gordon. Remember, he opted not to come down pit road and top off his tanks. I've spoken with Ray Evernham, and Ray, being the comedian he is, said, hey, you know, Doc, I think we're okay. We're going to run out somewhere between lap 89 and lap 91. We hope it's closer to 91 because we only have to run 90 and get the checkered flag, but it's going to be very, very close for the DuPont team.
I don't think we can count Mark Martin out of this race by any means. He is trailing Jeff Gordon right now in 3rd position, and there's quite an interval between 1st and 2nd, but still, Mark Martin might be able to make it up with the 15 laps that we have remaining.
And Earnhardt's problems continue. A lot of smoke coming from the Goodrich Chevrolet right now as he moves around Todd Bodine. Don't know if he's maybe over-revved the engine somewhere or what the situation might be with Earnhardt's car. Of course, we've reported that he has a transmission problem, and it could be heating up. The transmission may be getting a lot of heat there running in that third gear, even though they run. Most of them run a cooler on the transmission here.
And there is Rusty Wallace, who we just mentioned has fallen 2 laps down to 30th spot. Rusty was certainly in the hunt for the win here this afternoon until a collision coming out of the pit area with Jeff Bodine and Mark Martin. And here comes Wally Dallenbach off of the corner number 11 once again.
Okay, we got trouble in the inner loop up here.
Well, let's see if we get a second place position change. Yes, Bill, right in front of you.
Mark Martin around Jeff Gordon, and Todd Bodine is off the track, Dorsey.
Yeah, Todd's up here in the inner loop. He came together on the entry with another car and has spun the car. We'll see a replay here. You see him in the brake zone as they come into the corner there. Todd on the inside is going to get into it with the 28 car. We've seen this happen earlier. He gets up on the curb. They bump right there. And the car locks up, jumps the curbing. He's come through this inner loop about 2 times, guys, and did not make the corner, so having a lot of trouble up here in the inner loop today.
I tell you, Todd Bodine made a sacrifice right there. He could have run all over Dale Jarrett and didn't do it. They might have touched coming into that turn, but if he'd come on in there and not got up on that curbing the way he did, got his car all out of shape there. We see him moving away now, but he could have wrecked both of them right there.
He was 25th, 1 lap down, but of course loses all the positions now because of the crash there in the inner loop. John Kernan
he was
has
having some kind of problem because we saw Earnhardt just a lap or so ago pass Todd Bodine down the front straightaway. And even in Earnhardt's weakest position, he was passing Todd Bodine. So obviously Todd had some type of problem.
Wally Dallenbach has a substantial lead at the moment. Let's check into his pit and John Kernan.
But these guys, Bill Davis, Chris Hussey, they're watching that 6 car because they know that Mark Martin can fly around this track, and there's still plenty of time left. And, of course, we told you, Wally breathing the fumes, not feeling very well in that car. But fuel, they were a little bit close, but that caution allowed them to get their window where they can make it with about a half lap to a lap to spare. And they talk about Todd Bodine. He has a problem. No brakes. He'll make that hard right-hand turn into the garage area and take it back. No brakes, plus the car was stuck in 4th gear. Let's go down to Jerry Punch, who's with Richard Childress.
Well, you talk about making it. It may be close down here for the Goodrich team. And, Richard, we're seeing some smoke out of your Chevrolet. What's the problem?
Well, you know, we think the transmission's just getting real hot. You know, it may have a little leak in it somewhere, but it's just getting right on the pipe. It's not anything getting on the track.
What have you said to Dale? You've obviously just made him aware that it is smoking. What advice have you given him?
Well, we just now told him to back off a little more and just, you know, try to save it. You know, if we can just finish it, we're going to have it'll be better than having to come in here and work on it.
Well, they hope they can hang on. He's got about 13 laps to make it, or make it 12 laps, and Earnhardt has his fingers crossed, but they are doubtful that car will make it another 12 laps.
If points were awarded right now where they are running, Mark Martin would go into 3rd place, and Dale Earnhardt would slip to 4th. That, of course, is not the way that things may shake out at the end of this race in 12 more laps.
Caution is out.
Caution is out for some reason. Let's check around the course and see if we can determine why. This is the 3rd caution of the afternoon, tying the fewest number.
Well, that's going to help Mark Martin. He was 5 seconds behind Wally Dallenbach. Now he'll be right up on his bumper. And, of course, it'll help the fuel situation with Jeff Gordon and Wally Dallenbach if there was any question there to begin with. And then running under caution, of course, won't use quite as much fuel.
Well, guys, something I have been observing for the last 4 or 5 laps up here is that Wally Dallenbach's car is leaking a lot of oil, or it's leaking a lot of smoke, I should say, and he's complaining about fumes when he goes through the outer loop. He's got a lot of smoke coming out with him.
So this thing is not over by any means. We have 10 laps to go in this event. The caution is out for the 3rd time. Back with more right after this. We are under caution at Watkins Glen, the field behind the pace car. Wally Dallenbach has the lead at the moment. It'll be interesting to see if everybody comes in for a pit stop this time.
I doubt if we'll see many of them come in, because most of them figured they were in position to go on the rest of the way. Some of those back towards the back might come in.
Nice hat.
Hey, you got to do anything. I guess you could call those guys melon heads, huh, Benny?
I guess. Wow, look at the folks they have there today.
Hey, Benny, all these folks want to say hi to you, too. I was climbing up the tower before the race, and they were looking for you. And, so they're thinking of you up here, big guy.
I did eat your chocolate chip cookies for you again, man.
And that's the worst news of all.
All right, who's going to stop?
Well, let's see. We're going to know here in just a few minutes. That area off there to the right is what's called the boot. That's the long portion of the course. They're coming down between turns 5, entering turn number 10, and then they'll go back to the right in turn 11 and enter the pits.
How many cars on the lead lap, Bob?
19 cars on the lead lap, Benny, and Ward Burton is the last one, and I think he is totally out of brakes. That's the way it looked out there, so I expect him to be coming in. Dale Jarrett is having brake problems. Wonder he's running at 18th place. Wonder if he might come in. Some of those back towards the back might come in. They don't have nothing to lose. Put on some new tires and hope to pass some of those that don't stop.
By the way, Darrell Waltrip had moved up to 6th position, passing Bobby Labonte just before the caution came out. There's Darrell right there in front of Labonte and Andretti.
Well, here they come.
Time.
Yep. No, none of the leaders coming in. No,
10 laps to go,
they
by the
didn't
way.
even fake it.
10 laps to go. 70, or rather 80 laps are completed, and the green should be coming out very soon here at Watkins Glen. Back at Watkins Glen, where the yellow remains out, it's for oil on the racetrack, by the way. Very enthusiastic crowd here at Watkins Glen. And earlier today, in the parade of the drivers around the racetrack, each of the drivers held an American flag as he toured the racetrack in front of the paying customers. And there's also concern about the executive order from President Clinton, which could seriously affect the involvement of R.J. Reynolds through their Winston brand of sponsorship of the series, Earnhardt commented.
Well, the Winston Cup drivers are really upset about it. You know, Winston creates a lot of jobs. They created the tobacco industry, is a big sponsor of NASCAR, and has a big following with a lot of fans and everything. And surely we don't promote kids to smoke, and we do a lot of things for fundraisers and things to prevent smoking for the kids. But I think it'll cut out a lot of jobs. We have a lot of people on our teams that work, you know, and it's a big industry. It's a big thing. And if it was an illegal product, I could understand it. But it's a legal product, and a company selling legal products should be able to do what they want. And you know, this is a big industry. I think they're really getting into something they don't want to. It's everybody's right to choose, and I think, you know, you're talking about people's rights here. You're talking about the right to choose to do or don't do what you want to, and this is America, and I think you need to leave it alone. There's too much government in the people now, and they need to let the, you know, Constitution work as it is.
That is the opinion of Dale Earnhardt speaking on behalf of the other NASCAR Winston Cup drivers regarding the executive order from President Clinton last week. Caution is still out, giving the fans a little bit of a breather here before the finish of this race. We'll take a look at another Fram Field summary of how the cars are running. There you can see that Darrell Waltrip is up to 6th, separating the Labonte brothers, who were running together at one point. Jimmy Spencer down in 15th, back on the lead lap. There you can see there 16 through 30 that there are 19 cars on the lead lap.
And Bob, those 4 at the top there, 16th through 19th, they all did stop. They had very little to lose, so they came in and took on some new tires, hope they can move up a little bit in the field.
And the remainder of the field showing you the 7 cars that have dropped out of competition in this 10th annual Bud at the Glen. Back at Watkins Glen, where we are about to go back to racing. We will complete lap number 82 when they come down and get the green flag, and we'll have 8 more laps to go. Still Wally Dallenbach out front, but can he hold off the challenge of Mark Martin, who used to be his teammate? Remember in 93 when he finished second to Mark, he was driving as a teammate to Mark. Well, they're back at the same situation. They're not teammates, but they're running first and second now as the green comes out.
And Dallenbach leads the charge down into turn 1. Mark looks to the inside but falls back in line. Then it's Gordon, followed by Rudd, Terry Labonte, Darrell Waltrip, and Bobby Labonte. The race is on into turn 2. It's still Dallenbach. Now it should be single file till they get back to Dorsey and headed to the inner loop.
Boy, don't you love it when they do this. 8 laps to go, and they're going to get after it right now. Wally opening up a little bit of a lead on Mark. That's a pretty good lead as he got up the S's clean. Remember, the cars behind are in dirty air. They get a little bit of push to him. So Wally in command right now as he heads into the inner loop.
Now, Dorsey, you mentioned that thing has been smoking in your area. Dallenbach's car did at that time. You see any evidence?
What's been smoking as he heads down where he is right now, as he heads down the hill around the outer loop. Nope, right now it's clean. The car has no smoke that I can tell whatsoever. Side by side, 28 car up alongside the guardrail. Just nicks it. He recovers. Good recovery there. Good.
Riding with Jeremy Mayfield, that's Derek Cope just ahead. Cope is 3 laps down in 29th.
Heavy smoke in the 87 car coming through the outer loop, guys.
Okay.
Jeremy Mayfield is 3 laps down in 29th. Cope is running in the 18th position.
On the lead lap.
Yeah.
Dallenbach holds off Martin and the others for another lap now with 7 to go.
Darrell Waltrip got a little squirrely there. Now is into the grass, gets back on course. John Andretti with a nifty move to dive inside. Darrell back up to speed and into 2.
John Andretti having a good run here today, Bob.
Yeah, he sure is. Let's see. He is up now to 7th position.
And this is his first time in a stock car on this road course.
First time that he has run a stock car on this track. He has won here. Here it is again as Darrell goes off. Comes back right in front of John, who makes a nifty move to miss him. Andretti has won on this track on the longer course in an IMSA car, but has never driven this particular course in this kind of race car.
He was between rides a year ago here.
Yep.
A year ago next week, he got in the SDP Pontiac, set it on the outside pole for the race in Michigan that we'll be covering next week.
Yep. Let's see if Mark can get a jump off the corner and come down the straightaway and make a move on Dallenbach.
Nope, not this time. But he's moving in as they head into turn 1 in front of Bill Weber.
He's going to dive to the inside. This could be it. The fans on their feet. And Mark Martin recaptures the lead. Dallenbach falls into second. Gordon closes, tries the outside. Dallenbach looks to slam the door. Mark Martin, the pole sitter, looking to repeat as the race leader once again with 6 to go.
Wally held out wide there. He's going to try to do that inside pass, but he turned in too early, had to get out of the throttle, and almost fell back into the clutches of Jeff Gordon as they come now up into the inner loop.
And that's exactly what he tried to do in the move that Bill Elliott made in the very early stages of the race, but it didn't work for Wally Dallenbach, who has to now settle for 2nd position. And Jeff Gordon is right there in 3rd.
Ricky Rudd is not too far behind in 4th. Terry Labonte in 5th. And Bobby Labonte up to 6th now.
I tell you what, my hat's off to Dallenbach. He has done a fantastic job today under circumstances that are less than desirable because, let's face it, this might be the most important stock car race he's ever run in his life.
He has come back from as low as 9th position. Mark Martin has to once again take the lead from Wally Dallenbach. But you're right, Benny. Dallenbach has turned in a very impressive performance this afternoon. 5 laps to go now in the At The Glen. And the Unocal bonus money would go to Mark Martin. That's only $15,200. It was captured, of course, by Sterling Marlin 2 races ago at Talladega.
You know, this is the part of the racetrack last year that Mark Martin was so strong up through the S's, but it looks like this year that Dallenbach is as good through the S's as Mark Martin.
Well, Wally's not giving up by any means yet. He's got 5 laps to go. He might be able to take a deep breath under a brake zone, close up the little deficit that we see here right now. He's going to try everything he can to win this race.
Mark Martin, by the way, has led the most laps and will get to 5 bonus points in that category. There's Andretti, Darrell Waltrip, Jeff Bodine. Here are Brett Bodine and Jimmy Spencer and Derek Cope.
They're running 16th, 17th, 15th, 16th, and 17th.
And all those cars stop for tires, so we can see that brand new tires does not seem to be the advantage they are in most racetracks.
I don't think it makes a big difference here, Benny. Not nearly as much as you say as we see on the oval tracks.
But it didn't seem to make as much difference with the new pavement this year. We tried some back-to-back tests, and with this new pavement, there's so much grip that the new tires didn't really help that much.
Michael Waltrip, Butch Leitzinger battling for 12th position. And also the 16 car of Ted Musgrave is right there.
You know, Michael Walters in that Pennzoil Pontiac has run better than this position all day long. Evidently, something going away here near the end.
Yeah, he was up there in the top 10 for a good while, but again, now being shown in the 12th position.
We remind you that Shop Talk is coming up at the conclusion of our telecast. And we have less than 4 laps to go. Here's the leader, Mark Martin, coming around corner number 11, completing lap 87. 3 to go now. Dallenbach continues to run in second position. Then Jeff Gordon, then Rudd, then Labonte.
Then Labonte.
Yeah, then Labonte. Terry followed by Bobby.
John Andretti is 7th. Darrell Waltrip 8th. Jeff Bodine 9th. And Ricky Craven with a good run here in 10th place. And he has spun out twice.
Yes, he has.
Still is on the lead lap and in 10th place. Ricky Craven.
And Bill Elliott is back to 11th spot after starting from the front row. There's Ricky Craven. Good job by the rookie. The other contender with the rookie points, Robert Presley, will finish down in 33rd. Presley has had problems resulting in his 33rd place at the moment, but Ricky Craven has hung in there.
So that'll, if he gets a top 10 finish out of this, he's certainly going to help him in the Max Race Cars Rookie of the Year contest.
Somebody smoking ahead of him. That's Jeff Bodine, who may be losing an engine here with just a couple of laps to go in 9th position.
It doesn't look like that smoke is coming out the exhaust pipe, Bob, so maybe it's not an engine problem.
He's only got 2 more laps to go to finish the event.
Looks like a brake problem, a hub problem or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, Mark Martin's Ford leads this event now with less than 2 laps to go. The battle for the Manufacturers' Cup has Chevy, of course, with 15 wins, a total of 159 points. Ford with 3 victories this year and 119. And Pontiac has the win at Dover with Kyle Petty and total of 83 points. So this is going to be another boost for Ford if they can hold on to win this event.
We can see that Dallenbach is still has an aggressive stance as he comes off turn 5. He goes over in the dirt trying to take all the racetrack he can to try to gain a little bit on Mark Martin. He is still trying his hardest.
Dallenbach has radioed the crew to have oxygen ready in 1 more lap when this race is over. Obviously, the young man is becoming ill from inhaling the fumes coming from that car. But on the other hand, with just 1 more lap to go, he can hang in there and finish the race. Mark Martin is on the final lap. Go ahead.
Sorry, the Dallenbach car has begun smoking again. About 3 laps ago, it's been smoking heavily like it was before, so I'm sure that's what he's breathing, and that's not much fun in this kind of heat.
Mark Martin is headed down the backstretch for the final time, looking toward the inner loop. There is Wally Dallenbach in 2nd spot. And everybody in single file through here. No positions being battled for on the last lap. But now we see Spencer and Cope and Mayfield side by side, and Waltrip. Oh, and Jimmy goes over the curves and
Spencer goes around here. Waltrip gets on through it. Derek Cope gets through it. Spencer out in the grass. He's going to come back. He's going to lose about 4 or 5 positions. He's spun it around again.
Well, while all that is going on, Mark Martin comes through corner number 11, and Mark Martin is 3 for 3 at Watkins Glen. He has won the 10th annual Bud at the Glen. It's his 16th career win, 3rd on a road course, and 3rd in a row here at Watkins Glen. And 4 of the last 5 road course races have now been won from the pole. Everybody else coming down. There's Michael Waltrip crossing the line. There is Mark Martin. who has won again after an incident in the inner loop on the last lap among some of those battling for position.
Yep, Mr. Excitement's going to turn in here and hit this curve. Watch the car jump in the air right there. That loosens the thing up. He comes in, hits this curve. No control now. He spins it. You'll see him jump on the throttle. His tires will start smoking. Tries to finish his spin off, and now nobody behind him has a clue what's going to do.
But everybody missed him. That was the amazing thing. Maybe a little bit of contact with Michael Waltrip, but Derek Cope was able to avoid all of that action. Mark Martin has won here at Watkins Glen. We'll be back to talk with him in a moment. Well, the victorious crew heads for victory lane after Mark Martin has done it here at the Glen once again. Your results: Dallenbach with a strong second performance. Jeff Gordon finishes third. Those that you traditionally think of as road course racers are fourth and fifth. Rudd and Terry Labonte, with Bobby Labonte finishing sixth. Good run for John Andretti. Darrell Waltrip with eighth. Jeff Bodine ninth, and Ricky Craven rounds out the top 10. There were 19 cars on the lead lap. And there you can see Sterling Marlin finishing only one position ahead of him in 21st. And the remainder of the 40 cars that started this event about 2.5 hours ago.
You see Joe Nemechek there in 31st position. He dropped out just with a few laps to go, had to push his car into the garage area.
Mark Martin has pulled his Valvoline Ford into victory lane. Taking the steering wheel off, getting a refreshing drink before he comes out of the car, where Jerry Punch is waiting on him to talk to the champion of the Glen once again. Here he is out of the car, Mark Martin.
And Mark getting a big deep breath and a gulp of Gatorade. Mark, congratulations on an outstanding effort. Boy, you had to come back there toward the end. Wally was tough.
Wally was really tough. Happy birthday, Arlene. We did it. Hey, Matt, I hope you're watching, buddy. I wish you were here. Got to thank Valvoline, Cummins, and Goodyear, Ford, and that team. They're the best, man. They got me in the best race car on the racetrack. Wally was tough. Rusty was tough, but we had it there at the end.
What about that close call coming off pit road? You slowed down. It looked like to let the field go by, and then you get punted from behind.
Yeah, you got to let those guys go by, and I saw them, and I says, well, I'm going to slow up here and let them go. And the guys behind me must have kind of been racing each other off the end of pit road. And I got run into the back of it, messed Rusty up. And it's just one of those things.
You had the feel for Wally Dallenbach. You've been there. He was your teammate one time. You know how much he needed to win or wanted to win, but hey, that's part of it.
Let me tell you something. I wanted Wally to win, but not at my expense. We're really glad to win, but I would have loved to have seen Wally win. I really would have. He drove a great race, and they had a good race car.
3 consecutive wins here at Watkins Glen. His second win in 1995, Bob, as Mark Martin in victory lane.
Mark Martin with his second win of 1995 at Watkins Glen International here in New York. We'll be back to wrap it up in just a moment. ESPN Speed World coverage of the Bud at the Glen has been brought to you by Allied Signals Fram Filters. You can pay a little now or a lot later. By Valvoline, the #1 choice of America's top mechanics. By the more than 1,000 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. We ran this race today, won by Mark Martin at record speed, 100.30 miles an hour, the average for the 90 laps. Now the point standings. Jeff Gordon holds on to the lead. Sterling Marlin second. Mark Martin has moved up 1 position. Earnhardt down 1 position. Ted Musgrave remains in 5th. In the manufacturers' points battle, another win for Ford. They now have 4 wins and a total of 128 points. Chevy with 15 wins and 163 points. Well, next week we have more auto racing for you on Friday at 3 o'clock Eastern Time on ESPN2, qualifying for the Goodwrench 400 at Michigan International. We'll see you with Speed Week at 12:30 Friday night. And then Saturday, NASCAR Today at 11 o'clock from MIS. The Detroit Gasket 200 Busch Grand National Race at noon. NASCAR Today on ESPN2 at noon on Sunday. And then our live coverage of the GM Goodwrench 400 next Sunday afternoon from Michigan. Next, Shop Talk with Dale Earnhardt and an opportunity to buy some Brickyard 400 memorabilia. Our congratulations to Mark Martin. My thanks to Bill Weber, Dorsey Schrader, Jerry Punch, John Kernan, Ned Jarrett, and Benny Parsons. We'll see you next week at Michigan. For now, this is Bob Jenkins. So long, everyone.